The Sox are 2 games under 500 again. They continue this 3-game series with the Brewers tonight. At the NBA playoffs, Oklahoma City held off Minnesota 128-126. They now lead the Western Conference Finals 3-1. NBA insider Mark Stein reported yesterday the Dallas Mavericks are expected to explore a possible trade with the Celtics this summer involving Drew Holiday. Kyrie Irving is expected to miss a lot of Dallas's next season after tearing his ACL in March. In hockey news, Carolina avoided a 4-game sweep with a 3-0 win in Florida over the Panthers. Florida still leads the Eastern Conference Finals 3-1. And in tennis, top American Taylor Fritz beaten in 4 sets by Daniel Altmaier of Germany in the first round of the French Open. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Catches Law. At Catches, they specialize in helping those who have been injured not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does this sound like you? Visit catcheslaw.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher
When has that been necessary to fact check?
and Hardy
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
on 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT booting up.
Let me hear you say, boo, boo, boo.
Crush me, mommy!
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fat and having some fun.
on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go. My daughter's sitting there. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? She's like, whatever I want. I'm done. I'm like, no, nobody does whatever they want in this house. If that were the case, Daddy'd be out with a couple of hookers and an 8-ball. This is not how we operate in this house. You better do something. Don't be sitting there drinking coffee, looking at your phone when I walk in this house.
Right.
I can't stand to see.
Can't abide by that.
I cannot abide idleness. Don't you get a, you do something.
Yeah, that's right. So what'd you get her doing? Scrubbing the floors?
No, she
Like
went
a woman?
She went up to her room and closed the door. I said, "Better. That's a start."
You're out of my sight. That's doing something. I don't have to look at you.
Oh God, we get
Go isolate, lady.
That's right.
When does your job start? What are you doing? I cannot come home from work and have people sitting around. No.
That's right.
If you're going to sit around, sit in your room.
Right. This is not a place of leisure.
And almost
The home is not the place to sit.
to reset. Thank you. Finally, somebody gets it.
No
Right.
TV either. No TV on.
No, he
nothing.
never watched it.
Yeah.
No.
To reset the balance, I said, "Okay, well, I'm going out to power wash." And
Oh, yeah.
I get the gas washer out. I fill that thing to the brim. I get it all. I get the hose hooked up. I get the water running through it. I get everything set. You think I could start that thing? No. Do you think a real man would be able to start it? Yes.
So what happened?
So I went back to the electric. I hauled the electric out of the shed and used that instead.
Yeah,
of
What a disappointment.
He
This
was-
is
he
minor
was
league power
disappointed
washer.
in myself.
He was saying that I couldn't handle the gas one yesterday.
Neither can I. I can't even start it.
Yeah.
I used
Well,
half
at least you admitted it, and acceptance is the first step.
a can of starter fluid in that thing. I'll get it to fire, but all it's doing is burning off the starting fluid. I don't know what's
Adam
going
doesn't
on
like
thing.
that. You can't have that. You're just burning off starter fluid like
Bad for the environment.
that's very bad for the environment.
Full tank of gas in that thing, 212. Should I just go dump it in the woods? There's a little tadpole hatchery behind my house. Is that a good spot for it?
It's not even like 6:10 in the morning. You got to be starting in on me like this. Why you got to do me like this?
I got to get the gas out now.
There's better ways to do it. Siphon it. Give you a little give it a little suck. Get it out of there.
Nick, that
Maybe
reminds
you come over and do it.
Yeah, I'll help you out. We were
Better
supposed
at
to
it.
do tree work this spring, Hardy, but we never got around to that. And now
I was
it's
saying that
late.
you'd be better at fellatio.
Yes, I'm trying to skip over the fact that you said that.
That's
and
what I was
redirect the
saying. I was saying
conversation
that
like
you
a
would
good
be
producer.
better. You'd be better at sucking the tube on the account of you're better at fellatio than him because you're more experienced at it, I'd imagine. That's the point I was making.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for putting a
stomped
fine
it.
point on
You
that.
stomped on it.
Yeah, I tried to.
Cheers.
Apparently I didn't put it
And
out.
now I had to
Circle back.
explain it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you got it because you were
Oh,
stamping
I got
on
it. I got it.
No, I don't think you understand. Your mouth was being used as fellatio.
Right. And my feet was being used to stomp out the you saying the joke, and now it's like it ironically, Hardy, it's like a little forest fire. I'm trying to like stamp out the little embers here, and it doesn't seem to be doing the trick.
Use your mouth like you do when you.
Well, if I blow on it, it makes the flame higher. Not that you can't blow it out.
I think that you're taking the term too literally.
Will someone fillet me already?
Yeah.
Just a power washer.
Yeah, so the thing with my son being in school screwed everything up, but I had to go to my ex-wife's house. She had these people over for like Memorial Day, and I went over there and I brought my dog, and it was one of those things where everyone was very hyper-focused on the dog's behavior, even though my ex-wife has the dog who's attacked one of these women's other dogs, attacked one of her dogs, and everyone was hyper-focused on the dog's behavior to the point of grabbing like the dog's harness, like to keep him away from things.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, if everyone's concerned about him doing something, I'll tell you what could really aid in him doing something. You grabbing him. Maybe if you left him alone when he's not doing anything, he's just walking around. Maybe he won't do anything. When you consistently grab his harness and start pulling him from behind, their instinct is to turn around and nip at you.
Yeah, they don't like that.
They don't like that. He doesn't like being grabbed. He doesn't like when I do it. Like he knows not to bite me. Even though he bit my toe, but I got between him and food. And then I was inside. My ex-wife and I happened to be inside at the same time while they were all out there. And we heard the two dogs like growling, and then we hear this, oh. So Stephanie's like, can you go out there and see what's going on? And I'm like, all right. And so I'm like, I hope the dogs didn't do anything. And everyone is in hysterics because someone dropped food and the dogs were growling over it. And I said, yeah, that's what happens when there's two dogs and you drop food on the floor. They growl at each other and fight over it. Did they bite each other? No. All right. Can we all just calm down? It's like too much to have a dog in Newton. It's too much. It's at the dog park. It's too much. Everyone wants to shape how these dogs behave to such a degree. It's insane.
Yeah.
What happened to you at the dog park? A woman was so concerned about, what was it? You didn't have a bag or something like that? I'm trying to remember the
there's
story
a bunch
you
of
told.
them. There was
Yeah.
the one that when my dog hurt his leg, the guy asked if I had dog ibuprofen. He said, "Do you have Scooby-Dooby-Doo?" And I'm like, "What's that?" And he's like, "It's a painkiller for dogs." And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "It's dog ibuprofen. Do you have any on you?" As if he had a bag full of like medical supplies for dogs. A dog ibuprofen. No, I don't have that. I don't have anything. I have my phone and keys. How about that? Or when at the time the dog park where the guy, the old man in the shirt that said like dog park on it,
That was
came
one
up
of
to
them.
me and asked me for my identification, and I went no. Yeah, that's another time.
No, this was specifically
I'm
a woman
still
who
amazed.
was upset about your dog's behavior
I
at
had
the park.
upset about the dog's behavior.
Put out, not like yelling and screaming. But
Oh well, there's the time that the lady was throwing the ball, and she
this
said,
is the one.
sharing.
This is the one.
Yeah, and she was throwing the ball, and she says, "I don't want to share." She goes, "I don't want to
That's
share."
it. That's what I'm.
And it was just me, her dog, and her.
Right.
And she was throwing a ball to her dog as if I could tell my dog. I suppose there are people that could. It seems like a terrible existence for a dog, but you take a dog to a dog park, you let him off the leash, then there's a ball running around, and they're supposed to have the wherewithal for you to go like, no, stop. Like that's a level of training that I don't need. I'm 50 years old. I've had dogs pretty much all my life. I've had at least a dog at my parents' house all my life. And this notion of I'm going to train a dog to like sit next to me while people are like throwing a ball around at a dog park. And then I finally go, is it okay if he plays? And they're like, yeah. And I go, go. And then the dog finally I'm not going to, that's not how I want to spend my time with the dog. There is some training that I had to do with the dog. I mean, Craig trained it. I taught it to go to the bathroom outside. It knows place and sit and lay. It knows these things.
Yeah.
Not hard to train. Zoe taught the dog how to give its paw, all these things, but that's it. No more. And I've had a dog trainer over because, the dog's super hyper. But the dog's super hyper, and it's not great, but, you put him on a leash, you hold him back, everything's okay. But when people fuss around it, that's the thing. It's just everyone relax. If he doesn't touch you and he's not doing anything, just leave him alone. You grabbing him and grabbing him from behind and stuff, that's like the kind of stuff that's going to cause problems. If you leave him alone, it's just another thing to worry about. It's just the dog. There's two dogs. They're walking around. They're outside. Leave them alone.
Yeah. The dogs feed off the energy, and they can sense that anxiousness from the people around them. It's just you got to relax a little bit.
Yeah, I don't like this idea that I'm supposed to be able to mind meld with the thing to get it to do whatever in anyone's brain. I'm supposed to know they don't like that the dog's walking around.
I do like the guy asking you for ID. I don't know if when you told the story the first time, I don't know if I told you it was in Las Vegas. I have not the dog I have now, obviously, because this is a long time ago. But I had my dog, and we're playing Frisbee at a park. It wasn't a dog park. So I will admit at the beginning of this that I was technically wrong. But it's, 10 o'clock in the morning on a weekday in Las Vegas. There's no one in this park. We're all by ourselves, and we're playing Frisbee. And some dog catcher guy, whatever, same situation. He didn't ask for my ID, but he came up and he said, you can't be throwing your that Frisbee for that dog and have him off the leash. I said,
what?
I have to. He goes, no, you have to have him on the leash. I said, I can't do that. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, you see how fast he is. You want me to throw that Frisbee and then somehow keep him leashed and keep up with him while he goes to catch it? I mean, we're here to play Frisbee, sir. And he wasn't picking up on my sarcasm. And he's like, no, you can't throw the Frisbee here. And I said, well, yes, I can. It's obvious that we're doing it. He said, you have to keep him on the leash. I said, it's impossible, sir. Look at the speed of this beast. He was not having it.
How old a gentleman is this?
Jesus. It was 25 years ago.
No, but the point is he like an octogenarian?
I was a wise-ass 20-something-year-old, and he was probably in his 60s or something. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He's your age, Johnny.
Yeah.
You know how the youth talk to you.
Sure.
That's the thing is that this was an off-leash park, but the guy says, does your dog have this certain kind of license, which isn't a rabies certificate or even like a registration. It's a off-leash license that you're supposed to have in Newton, which is nonsense.
It's how the town makes money is what that is.
Well, that's the way? Yeah. Because there seems to be a lot of other ways that they make money, too.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a guy, and he's just some guy. He doesn't even have to be there. I don't even know why he's there. Like, there's no mandate that he does anything or anything. And he's like, is this your dog? And I'm like, yeah. Because other people told me this guy's he's walking around, and he's like, your dog doesn't have a license. And I'm like, huh? Yeah, he's got all the licenses. He goes, he doesn't have an off-leash license. And I go, fine. I go, okay, you say so. And then he goes, can I see your driver's license? And I went, who are you? He's like, can I see your driver's license? I go, you're not a police officer. He goes, no. I go, you can't see my driver's license. First of all, I didn't have it on me. But that's ridiculous. I'm not going to show you my ID. That's not even being a dick. That's just like, no, I'm not going to start showing my ID to everyone that comes up to me asking for my address. That's ridiculous.
Does Newton require photo dog IDs, and then they have the different classifications on there? Well, I see your dog is L, but you need the OL down here in the bottom right.
Okay.
For the off-leash.
Well, they have them, the level of training that they've gone through. They if you have to take it through government courses to get it to the off-leash part. I don't even know how much it costs. I think it's like $75. But then who even knows how to do it? I don't know. He had brochures and everything. I'm like, I don't want the brochure. Just go away. Just don't do this.
Take your pamphlet and go over there.
Yeah, just sit on a bench and enjoy the day. What are you doing? Like walking around enforcing this nonsense? But I haven't seen him there in a long time. But can I see your identification? No. And then the other people there were so impressed. Wow, you didn't show me your ID. And I'm like, no, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to show people your ID.
Whip out your ID for anyone who asks.
Yeah,
No.
if he's a cop, I'll show my ID. But what do you like? If you're in like Bloomingdale's or something, and the security guard comes up and says, "Can I show you? Can you see my ID?" No, you can't.
Not in Bloomingdale's, I wouldn't.
No, Macy's.
A
yes.
Golfer's Warehouse or something. Yes.
Well, they would know you. Your face is your identification there.
Thank you.
You're the host of the 98.5 The Sports Hub Golf Club. Have you talked to? Did you have Forsberg on this weekend?
Yeah.
How many breaks?
25 minutes.
PGA championship talk.
You know what we did? We had a little chin wag about just kind of like it was State of the Union asterisk, and then down below Chris Forsberg's golf game. And we dug in. I'm like, Chris, how's the game? That's how we started. Real slow build on this thing. And we
98.5 The Golf
Right.
Club.
How much you been playing? How are you playing? What's going on with your game these days? And we did a fair amount of that before we broke down the PGA Championship.
So it's like it's like if you're the third person at a boring dinner. Like you and Forsberg are sitting there babbling about crap that no one cares about,
No.
but like
Third
you hear it
person
on the
is the
radio.
listener?
No.
Yeah, the third
no.
person is the listener.
No, no. You're the third person at a boring breakfast. It airs very early on Sunday morning.
That's right. So you get to hear how, like, this guy does TV for the Celtics. I wonder how his golf game is.
Yeah.
There's 25 minutes of it.
Yeah.
That's the show.
It doesn't seem like you're putting the most effort into this anymore.
Did you forget that 2 weeks ago I had on the president of Bank of America, Mihal Chamberlain, and we had Dick Conley on, who was a luminary from the We Met Fund. I mean, I had the marketing director from FootJoy on. These are guests who have appeared in the last 2-3 weeks on the Sports
When
Hub
was
Golf
the
Club.
episode with Stemp Meter Talk? When was that?
John, if you really wanted to know, you can go look in the archives, okay?
Okay.
But I get
Do you not remember,
busting
or
my
you just
balls.
Look at it. Just search the New York Times.
That's sorry.
Every Monday they do a review. There you go. Well, listen.
I have special guests on where there's a video platform. There's a special graphic built for it. How dare you say I'm not putting the most effort into it? That's hurtful.
Who you going to talk about their game? Maybe you could I could get the guy at the dog park to talk to you.
Why don't you come on the show? Why don't you help me out this week?
That's what I need to do. That's what everyone wants to hear too. I'll tell you, people aren't afraid to ask me to come on their podcast. Like, can you do 8:00 on a Monday?
Did I tell you I did one for the high school kid? This is about a month ago, and I thought it was going to be. He asked if the email was, "Can I interview you?" And it's kind of like an end of school year thing, so I thought it was for a project. I said yes. So first of all, he's late to the Zoom thing, and I'm waiting. Finally, he pops on, and he's like, "Okay, welcome to the so and so podcast." I'm like, "Oh Jesus, this isn't an interview. This isn't. Oh, okay." I thought it was going to be 15, 20 minutes. After 40 minutes of sitting and talking, I was like, okay, we got to be all done. And then he was a nice kid, but afterward, we got all done. He emailed me and said, "I'm really sorry, but I forgot to press record. And it's really unfortunate because it was a really good episode. I'm wondering if we can reschedule." And I would say this is unlike me. I just didn't reply.
Yeah.
I just no. Now we're done.
Why did the person have a podcast?
Because he's a person over 16 years old in the United States, and I believe it's required by law now that you have your own podcast. At least 3 episodes. What was the stat that we got? Like there are like 6 million podcasts
Adam knew.
so far, but 98% of them only have 1 or 3 or fewer episodes.
I think it was
Correct.
99%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I know a guy whose kid has a basketball like blog, and at least that is the process of writing.
Yeah.
And like formulating thought and idea and writing it all down. I think that's like kind of a worthy exercise. But like if my daughter was like, I want to have a podcast, I'd be like, go ahead, but you're just spinning your wheels here. There's really no point to it. If anything, you're just going to develop bad habits. But there you go. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Lots of things happened last evening. There were playoffs galore and everything else under the sun. We'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hood.
big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app. Hey, if your alarm clock sounds like this, this is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, The Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. Have you heard the evolution of the Bill Hader, Henry Rollins, David Lee Roth story?
Yes.
Okay, it's pretty funny.
It is funny, yeah.
And did you know that Rollins, like on one of his spoken word albums, like tells the story, but it's a little bit different. But the way Bill Hader tells it, it's not really what happened, but it's way funnier. So what happened is Henry Rollins did meet David Lee Roth one time, and there was beer involved. But the way Hader had heard the story is way funnier. So the way Hader tells it is that David Lee Roth was doing a morning show, and then Henry Rollins was coming into the morning show after him, which is like, that happened, right? We have David Lee Roth, and now coming in Henry Rollins. So that wasn't really what happened, but it was in the morning when all this happened. And David Lee Roth comes out, and he says, and Henry Rollins is like, "Wow, you're David Lee Roth." He goes, "Yeah, man, I'm David Lee Roth." And he goes, oh, it's so good to meet you. And David Lee Roth goes, "Hey, you want a beer?" And pulls a beer out of his pocket, like a jacket pocket. He has like a bunch of beers in him. And Henry Rollins goes, "No thanks." He goes, "What's wrong? Got kindergarten tomorrow?"
Yeah, burn.
Yeah, exactly. What's wrong? You got kindergarten tomorrow?
Wasn't when Roth was on the air here, and maybe this summer, Fred, we need to go back and revisit the archives again, find a little more DLR morning show experience. But it seemed like he spent an awful lot of time during a short stint as a morning man talking about how he never did drugs, and he did he say he didn't drink?
Oh no, no. Well, he couldn't do that because. I mean, famously at the US Festival. I mean, he used to. I know it probably wasn't really Jack Daniels, but he had the little person guy come out and with the bottle of Jack Daniels on a tray. It was part of the show, and then he would like chug the Jack Daniels. That was part of what they did. But he was wasted at the US Festival, if you recall. It was like the most a band had ever been paid for one performance or something like that in like the history of music. You can watch it on YouTube. He's just, he doesn't do anything like really dumb. He just talks too much. But I was just seeing this. The reason I thought of that about the Hader story is I was just watching this old Jay Leno clip of David Lee Roth from like 94 on Jay Leno. And he's doing like Catskill like jokes. He's like, he goes, at the Vegas cafe, at the Vegas casinos, they got, Van Zandt on the $20 chip, Eric Clapton on the $50 chip, and they just put me on the bagel chip. And you're like, did someone give this guy 4 hours of 20 hours a week of freeform radio? He's doing bumps. He's doing like bad strip club jokes. So I'm not quite sure how he got that job to this day.
You think Michael Anthony got paid to use the Jack Daniels bass?
I think he probably got Jack Daniels. I don't think he got paid to use the Jack Daniels bass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll dive into that during the next break. But we got Red Sox to talk about. Out on the road, playing the Brewers in Milwaukee. Jaron Duran?
On the ground to second. Tough guy to double up. There's one. There's two. Double play.
Uh-oh.
Hall gets it. 4-6-3. The inning is over.
That's a tag team, huh? Double them up.
This was in the seventh when the Sox were trailing 2-0. And Duran had a chance to redeem himself and did. Tiny little bit.
Swinging.
Oh, the rebate is good. You've done redeemed yourself.
For a base hit. Story is in to score. Runners at first.
The story is put one run on the board.
The Red Sox are still alive.
They were alive for just a minute there, but ultimately.
Swinging a high pop-up into right. Freelick underneath it.
Can of corn, aisle 2, dented can, half off.
It's red. Red Sox make it fascinating in the end, but they fall for the third consecutive time. They lose on this Memorial Day 3-2.
Fascinating. Riveting.
Yeah.
Like the episode of Full House where the older daughter has an amphetamine problem. She can't stop working out.
I guess the real story was Rob Refsnyder and his comments yesterday.
Yes.
He's wearing his emotions on his sleeve.
I don't really care. I don't really care about promise, and we lost. Yeah, it's frustrating. Tired of losing close games. We just need to figure it out and win some games. Bottom line.
What really surprising. The offense is terrible. The lineup is a mess beyond the first two hitters. And Christian Campbell, a guy who's hitting cleanup for this team most days, is 8 for his last 75. So this is what passes for a Red Sox offense these days. By the way, you know how many of those 8 hits are for extra bases?
I'm guessing less than 5.
1.
Okay.
1 extra base hit in his last 19 games.
That's
This is your
not a lot.
cleanup. This is your cleanup hitter yesterday.
Well, in his defense, he hasn't gotten that many hits.
And he's also not
point.
he's not usually hitting cleanup. That goes to a no-name guy that generally hits cleanup for them.
Connor Wong, by the way, at the plate with the bases loaded. How many RBIs does Connor Wong have? He's the guy who flew out to end the game. How many RBIs does Connor Wong have this year?
I'll say probably around 10.
None.
0. 0 RBIs, but he makes up for it because he's hitting 146.
Oh, God.
These are your Boston Red Sox, ladies and gentlemen.
How many RBIs do you want a guy to have if he's only batting 146?
You know, that's on me.
Why was he in the game yesterday?
It was Carlos Narvaez, who's had a really good year, was hitting third yesterday.
Right, yeah.
Narvaez, they pinch ran for him in the 8th inning. He represented, they were down 2-0. Narvaez was on first base, and they pinch ran Connor Wong for him.
Yeah, but why? Yeah, I don't understand why you pinch run Wong.
I don't know.
Because you could put a pinch runner in and then put Wong in for the pinch runner.
Right, but he'd still come up at that point in the batting order.
No, I understand. No. What I'm saying is, why wouldn't you have someone fast run for Connor?
Like Rob Refsnyder, for example. I have no idea.
Yeah, that just seems like...
No idea.
Yeah, it just seems like a random... Unless he was hurt or something. But still, I would have pinch ran someone faster.
I would,
or maybe it was a close game and they felt they were going to run out of position players.
They were down 2-0 in the top of the 8th when they pinch ran. And so they had runners on first and third, and then
the leading run at the plate.
Yeah,
interesting strategy. I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah, Narvaez was on first,
right?
Presenting the tying run, so they pinch ran Wong. They should have pinch ran someone faster. I agree. I understand.
Well, no, I'm not even saying that. There might be mitigating circumstances. I obviously wasn't paying any attention to the game because I'm a human being. But and it was done during the day. But and it's a regular season baseball game, which I don't think is my responsibility, but it's an interesting decision to pinch run a catcher for the catcher.
Yes.
I'm not, and again, maybe there's a reason. There probably is. I'm not saying, I mean, I would take Cora's instincts over mine, who didn't even know what was going on in the game. But it just, looking at the box score, looking at the box score, it just seems odd. But there you go.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Well, you want to know why Refsnyder didn't go in and skipped in and put him in? He's got an attitude problem. It's like Nickerson talking about Djordjevic. No, he's got an attitude problem.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in the game. We feel like every time he goes on the mound, it's a great thing for us. Such a competitor. Everyone loves him. It's just disappointing.
Why don't y'all marry him if you love him so much?
I just want to salute Hardy for a reference that's, 45 years old?
Yeah, I didn't get it, so you tell me.
That's from the movie All the Right Moves.
And Pipe.
Djordjevic
is Tom Cruise the safety, right?
Yeah, and Nickerson blackballed him to the college
Craig
recruiters.
T. Nelson as the head coach.
Yeah, Craig T. Nelson, good villain.
Yeah.
What about Djordjevic? I hear the kid's real tough. No, he's got an attitude problem.
Don't want him. Don't want him.
Yeah, we just got to figure out. Like you said, there's
it was because he was banging his daughter, right? That he did that?
No, he dumped garbage on his lawn.
Oh, that's right.
See.
Oh, I was thinking of Youngblood when Youngblood banged.
What happened in the big game against Walnut Heights? They've got the game won. They're on their own goal line, and they're up in the game and just a couple of ticks left on the clock. And instead of calling a quarterback keep, he has Rifleman hand the ball off to Salvucci. Salvucci fumbles in the end zone. Walnut Heights recovers in the end zone. Touchdown, game over. They lose. So a bunch of people were upset, including Georgievich. They go over to coach's house that night. They spray paint graffiti. They dump garbage on the lawn. Nickerson spots Georgievich running away from the scene of the crime because it was a crime. And he kicked him off the football team and then blackballed him to the college.
You forgot one important part. Georgievich went up at Craig T. Nelson after that game. He said, "We didn't quit, you quit." That kind of thing. Remember that?
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
that's
and
right.
that sparked the original.
That's what got him kicked off the team.
But wait, the scholarship was the only thing keeping him from the mines.
At the end,
the steel mill.
Yeah. Yeah,
he was going to be working at the steel mill. He's a Pittsburgh kid.
He wanted to be an engineer, and on the wall of his bedroom, he even had an undersea dome. It was one of the first things that he had done right before he betted Leah Thompson for the first time.
Yes.
And that was Leah Thompson, Craig T. Nelson's daughter?
No.
Oh, because in Youngblood, remember, Craig T. Nelson was the coach in Youngblood. Yes. Right?
No.
And doesn't he bang, Youngblood bangs Craig T. Nelson's daughter? Or am I getting...
I don't think it's Craig T. Nelson. He does sleep with the coach's daughter. I don't think Craig T. Nelson is in that movie.
He should have been.
I never saw Youngblood.
It would have been better if Craig T. Nelson was in it. All right. What did Ref Snyder say?
Bats here and there, and then but we're just not getting the job done. It's not for lack of effort or work ethic, game planning. It's just we're not doing it. We suck right now. We got to just be better.
Ref Snyder's been hanging around for a long time, never being good.
The only reason he is on this team is that he crushes left-handed pitching. He'll hit cleanup when they face a lefty.
Okay, because he's never been good.
No, he's been a utility player his entire life. Yes.
Yeah, but never good. Always bad.
How many years now?
Yeah, but never not even close to a full major league season if you look at it.
No.
16 games, 58 games, 20 games, 32, 40, 15, 51, 57, 89, 93. Never a lot of games for Ref Snyder.
But he's hitting over 300 against lefties.
Okay.
There you go.
This is his fourth year with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Was he up and down, Johnny Boy? He's like a Woo Sox up and down?
No, he's been mainly a Red Sox guy. He just never plays a full schedule. He only plays against lefties.
Okay. Because, a 15 games, I think maybe he was hurt.
Yeah.
51 games.
Hey,
that's a lot of bench time.
93 games last year.
51 times 139 at-bats in a 162-game season is not a lot of at-bats.
272 at-bats last season.
Yeah, and that's not a good team. That's not a good team.
11 home runs. That merits a roster spot.
There you go. Yeah, it's you better say something if you want your quote used. You better say that you suck.
Hey, I'm here.
If you're Ref Snyder, as a guy who played 58 games in 2016 for a very good Yankee team.
But he's been around a decade.
No, I know. It's interesting. He must really hit left-handed pitching well because he's around a lot for a guy who barely plays and doesn't get a lot of at-bats. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox left the bases loaded in the ninth inning. They lost in Milwaukee yesterday 3-2. They'll continue their three-game series at American Family Field tonight. NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 40 points. Oklahoma City beat Minnesota 128-126. They lead the NBA's Western Conference Finals 3-1. Carolina shut out Florida last night 3-0. Panthers now lead the NHL's Eastern Conference Finals 3-1. And three-seed Alexander Zverev and Americans Coco Gauff and Jessica Pegula highlight first-round play today at the French Open tennis tournament. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Eastern Massachusetts' leader in drain cleaning and pipelining, Drains by James. Slow drain, clogged drain. You need to contact Drains by James today at drainsbyjames.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
F1 Arcade. Watch the race. Be the race. No skill? No problem. Just nonstop fun with your crew. From birthday bashes to Grand Prix parties. F1 Arcade is your high-speed hangout. Walk-ins are welcome, and the cocktails hit just as hard as the turns. This is your moment. All gas, no brakes.
It's one of the best times of the year. Playoffs are in full swing. Spring is heating up, but you know what's even better? Finding some extra cash at findmassmoney.gov. Here in Massachusetts, 1 in 10 people have unclaimed property from things like uncashed paychecks, refunds from overpaid bills, or forgotten savings accounts. Findmassmoney.gov is
Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub.
It's called Rising and Grinding.
Start your
Got
day.
your finger on the pulse, Fred.
Begin your
Seldom
day
right and never wrong.
right here. Set, touchers, Zach Hardy.
Kinda looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports.
OKC with the 2-1 series lead, up 8 at half, and then Minnesota started chipping away a little bit. However, would it be enough with the likes of Chet Holmgren doing his thing in the third quarter?
Slashes right, spins down the lane, free dunks! Oh, big right-hand send down! Chet Holmgren, don't be so mean, and welcome home, baby! He's got a dozen. Thunder by 7 on a 7-0 rampage.
He's the worst. He's really the worst.
Rampage.
He's really just the worst.
Oh, my God.
I heard him interviewed on the radio, and he doesn't talk like that. In not just the words, but his voice doesn't sound like that at all. At all. And the interview was entirely about how Oklahoma City, how it's a city and how they got the team.
It's not a city. That's one. It's not a city at all.
Right. And his whole point was, what team was it when they were homeless? They played in Oklahoma City, and was it New Orleans after Katrina?
Yes.
And they played in Oklahoma City, and they somehow proved themselves to the league. I'll tell you this: if it's Indiana, Oklahoma City, you're not going to hear one peep about it. It's really going to be something that no one is talking about. If it's Edmonton, Florida in the NHL finals, you might get more of a pop.
You absolutely get more of a pop. It's a rematch from last year. You have superstars like Connor McDavid in this.
Now, it won't be as highly rated, but
you'll hear more about it.
But you will hear more, than you normally would, right? Like, because normally, even now, like the basketball, it trumps hockey by a bunch, but it might be a little less of a dichotomy when you, if that's the case, because Oklahoma City, Indiana is a real snoozer.
No, the window would be open for a change, for the NHL to make some noise. Absolutely.
I wouldn't watch. I wouldn't watch 1 minute of it. Oklahoma, City, Indiana. I just, who cares? Who cares at all? And it's no one's fault on the teams. It's just, Indiana's boring, and then this team, I know they play fast, but no, I don't care about anyone on that team.
Okay, so you wouldn't watch, but would you listen? Would you listen at least as long as it took to get an Oklahoma City three-pointer?
Kicks left wing, Dub open. Snaps off a rainbow three. In there! Cha-ching! J-Dub authored money ball. Oh, baby! 34 for Dub, a playoff career high. Shea's got 10 assists. Thunder back up 7.
Again, he's got like OCD. Like, he's got to say it. Like, if he doesn't say it, something bad's going to happen. It's his problem. It's really not for the audience at this point. It's his problem. Who's told him he should be doing this?
I'd almost understand it if he was a kid, if he was like 24, 25, and in his mind he needs to say that to garner some attention toward himself. This guy's been around a long time.
If he was a kid and he said it every single time?
I'm not saying it's right. What I'm saying is you can almost understand the thought process because it's a kid. Oh, I have to plant my flag. Someone has to pay attention to me. I just got this NBA job. But that's not the case here.
Well, also, if he was a kid, I don't think he'd be saying cha-ching, which is from a Rallies ad or Sonic ad from like 1985. It's from when Seth Green was a little kid.
Cha-ching, a J-Dub authored money ball, oh baby!
Yeah, Seth Green in those cha-ching commercials from when I was a kid. I think Seth Green is 50 and I'm 50. I think we're exactly the same.
But he's not saying it just for no reason. It's a money ball, so the cha-ching makes perfect sense.
And when he says dub, it makes me want to strangle him too.
Well, the guy's last name is Williams. It starts with a W. It's Dub.
I didn't even know who he was talking about when he says Dub. So thank you for that.
The all-star.
He's too cerebral.
No, I know who when you say the last name who the player is now, but I don't know why. I didn't know you call people Dub because they have a W in their name.
Cha-ching, a J-Dub authored money ball, oh baby!
It's like when people say chip. Oh, I hate that.
Kids meals and 2 medium sodas. One chip.
Yeah, and that is from what year?
It's from like 1992.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was in high school.
Rallies commercial, yeah.
Yeah, me and Seth Green were both like 16 years old.
Pumping his fist and yelling cha-ching in the drive-thru.
Yeah, we were both 16 years old, 17 years old. That's what this guy's using as a cultural touchstone.
I think you will watch, Fred. If it's an Oklahoma City, Indiana final, you will watch because you'll get to hear another analyst.
And I don't know much about history, but I know the French and German.
I do know a little something about history. The history of cataclysmic disaster. I know that for history, man's hunted man. Some people think the largest beast is the hardest to kill. 'Tis not the case. The hardest beast to kill is the most savvy, and that is man.
Is it true that man is the most dangerous game, so to speak, Doris?
The ability to reason and hide. That's what's truly frightening.
Well, she got historical last night.
And I don't know much about history, but I know the French and German don't like one another. And Rudy says, bonjour, Mr. Hartenstein. Have a little bit of that left-handed dunk.
Yes, the French, Germany took over France in World War II. And then it took the Allies to bomb those bastards back ever since.
The beaches of Normandy.
Oh, look. Gunfire. I'll escape to the woods. All I'll need is a stick and a rock. You can find me in 3 years. I'll be a killing machine. I didn't make me, you made me. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, hiding.
Wait a second. This sounds like the plot of Rambo, Doris.
I've fashioned a small craft to circumnavigate the globe to end up in the Pacific Northwest.
And now you sound like Thor Heyerdahl. I don't understand.
Well, I had to get there somewhere from Europe, and I figured Pacific, and then, that made more sense. I made my way across Russia. I traipsed. Not leaving a footprint. I don't know much about history.
Across the Siberian tundra, and it just made your way into Alaska and all the way down the coast.
I was never much for reading, as I more read with my wits. I read the sound of the howl of the mountain goat.
Bonjour, Mr. Hartenstein.
Bonjour! That's what French wildebeest say when you stab them in the neck. Fun. Look at the turkey run around when it's been decapitated. Hee 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 hee. It's America's, it's nature's funny bone.
You'll watch.
Yes, I will. Absolutely. I won't be able to keep my eyes off it at 9:30 at night on a Monday. I'll be all over it. I don't know how I'll miss it. It's on right when I'm there sitting down watching TV at 9 o'clock on a Monday. That's
bonjour, Mr. Hartenstein.
Hart and Stein. That's the name of my restaurant. Hart and Stein.
Oh,
you understand?
Yes.
We just serve organ meat.
Got it.
And beer and mead. Organ meat and mead. It's Phyllis's Hartenstein. Come join us. We're in the Polish woods. We're in the hedgerows. What?
Is there an actual building or a dwelling that you go into, or do you sit on tree stumps?
It's a cave. You'll find it. Our only cutlery is sharp-pointed objects. And we serve the organ meat. You'll eat what's in there.
Directly off the spit.
Flame is not always used.
Oh.
Sometimes our tripe is served with feces still in.
Oh. All right.
Tripe.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We use every element of the beast is used. Heart and Stein. Still beating.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you hand it to him, still beating. Eat it now! Watch the blood. Tee-hee-hee. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. The great Gary Tanguay's got to dump that, though, when he'll join us to talk about it.
Banter and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox began a 3-game series in Milwaukee with their third straight loss, 3-2 to the Brewers. Garrett Crochet once again ran into bad luck. He allowed only 2 runs and pitched into the 7th inning and took another tough loss.
Obviously, runners in scoring position tonight was tough, but I think that we have a lot of faith in our offense. At any given moment, we're going to break out, and the rest of the season, we're going to forget about these first 2 months. I think that the most important part is that we're getting in the situations to have success, and eventually the ball's going to go our way.
He has an ERA of 2.04 and a record of 4-4. Jackson Churio homered to lead off the bottom of the first for the Winners. Red Sox left the bases loaded in the top of the 9th to end the ball game. They play the Brewers again tonight. In basketball news, NBA MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 40 points. Oklahoma City hung on for a 128-128-6 win in Minnesota. They lead the Western Conference Finals 3-1. NBA insider Mark Stein reported yesterday the Dallas Mavericks are expected to explore a possible trade with the Celtics this summer involving Drew Holiday. And Carolina's finally on the board in the NHL's Eastern Conference Finals. They won in Florida last night, 3-0. Panthers still lead 3-1. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by John Sewer and Drain Cleaning, keeping drains flowing for homes and businesses in the greater Boston area since 1976. Go to johnsewer.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 98.5sportshub.com.
Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Toucher and Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone. If you take his course in Emerson, you've seen both John Wallach and Hardy. Adam, have you done Gary's course? No.
No, but I would love to, Gary. Reach out to me anytime.
Adam
I appreciate that.
Adam has been a professor before.
Yeah, taught at Northeastern for a year.
Before he got screwed over, they fired him.
That's right.
Oh, I can't imagine that. Man,
Adam loses. Yeah, Adam loses a lot of jobs. No question.
It's true.
But he's get you, Fred. He's get you. Who doesn't like James Taylor?
I don't like acoustic singer-songwriter
Really?
stuff. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it.
Oh. Okay.
In fact, I find it annoying. Like, have you ever been to, at a party or something and someone picks up an acoustic guitar or been in a bar for that matter?
The bar thing is the worst.
Do you do that, Gary? You play the acoustic guitar, don't you?
I do not play the acoustic guitar.
Oh,
no.
I thought that you were a bit of a crooner. I thought
No, I don't.
When I was in Atlanta, you would often go into bars and there would be a guy with an acoustic guitar playing, and if I wasn't getting paid to be there, I would inevitably leave. I find it to be a nuisance. I don't know why people do it. It seems to be more for the guitar player than it does for the audience. I don't know anyone who likes it.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, if you're in a bar and you're hanging out and you want to just have a conversation and somebody, some guy starts singing like James Taylor or something, and you're not there to listen to him. You're there to talk to your friends. That's annoying.
Because I'm
a drummer, Fred. I have a drum set in the basement. I'm a drummer.
Oh, that's right. Gary is a drummer. I try.
Gary, go down in the basement and play drums for us.
You know what, Gary?
I'll wake up half my house. I can't do that.
Well, they should be up. It's a Tuesday.
Do you remember when I tried to sell you my my Roland V Stage kit? It was when the BCM went away and the Sports Hub had just started,
Yes.
and I fell on very hard times. And I was trying to make ends meet, and I tried to sell you my V-Stage kit, and you told me to go F myself. Do you remember that?
Well,
Gary?
I don't remember. Don't tell it like that.
How should I tell it?
Remember you. I remember you offering to sell it to me, but it wasn't. I wasn't thinking like you were on hard times. I mean, I know we were making the transition, but
I'm a host at a 10 to 2 show. I'm not dealing with the likes of you.
I went from.
And how'd that work out?
Good point, Gary.
7 months later, I needed to sell my drum set.
Okay, all right, fair.
Well, you can follow Gary on Instagram at GNTangway, and I do. And Gary, you had a story up, and you were sitting at a tiki bar, it looked like, and you had your arm out, and on your right forearm there was a palm tree with a crescent moon, and that
palmetto tree, yes,
a palmetto tree. Sorry, a palmetto tree with a crescent moon,
right.
And I remembered Hilton Head because that's like on a lot of cars in Hilton Head, and maybe that's even the South Carolina state flag or something.
It is.
Okay, and then is that a real tattoo?
Yes.
Okay, when did you get that?
See, the thing that I find fascinating is how you're fascinated with that I have a tattoo.
Not of a tattoo, but such a dumb one. When did you decide to get that?
Oh, Fred.
Why is it a dumb one?
Because it's just stupid. I mean, like, what do you know about South Carolina?
You're from Maine. You've lived in Boston for a long time. You're a Northeast guy. So if you're going to get like a huge tattoo on your dominant arm, one would think it would have something to do with where you're actually from and your heritage, not some symbol of a place where you've never lived.
This is so good because I have such a response right now that it's going to make all you guys feel like crap.
It better involve someone dead.
Can't wait.
Or it's not going to feel bad about it. But go ahead.
Well, okay. We love Charleston. We love to go to Charleston on vacation.
A collective?
My family.
All of us?
Yeah, my wife and I. My wife and I went there, and then we fell in love with the place. We're actually going back this summer. We've done family vacations there. We love the food. We love the vibe, Fred.
You love the racism.
Scene.
Lovely in the summer. 110 and humid. Yes.
Have you played golf on Kiowa, Marty?
I played the ocean course once. Yes.
Oh, touche.
Common ground, baby.
There you go. Well, I'm not good enough to play the ocean course. My son and I played the turtle course.
Okay.
But anyways, needless to say. We just love the place. We love to go hang out there. We love the vibe. So my son wanted to get a tattoo.
How old's your son?
My son's 20.
Okay.
All right. And I never thought I would have a tattoo. I mean, I'm not big on tattoos. I don't really care about them. My wife has them. My daughter has them. So I originally got one that has my wedding day. So my wife said to me, let's get a tattoo. Well, what do you, Fred, when your wife
It's very permanent. Go ahead.
Well, I understand. When she says, let's get a tattoo about wedding day, what do you say?
Well, my ex-wife got a tattoo of like stars representing the family, and then she said, why don't you get one of something like that? And I just went, no. But now I am divorced. So maybe,
I know that.
Yeah, so maybe you make a good point. Go ahead.
Well, and then my wife has one of birds representing the family. So, but for some reason it's three birds representing the kid, and there's not one of me. And I've always said, how come there's not one of me? So anyways, so my son wants to get a tattoo. And he's like, Dad, he goes, let's get matching tattoos. Let's do a father-son thing. So he and I went to a tattoo parlor. We went to this cool place in Connecticut. I can't remember the name.
What's Catechin?
Catechin? What do you mean?
What did you just say? You went to a cool place where?
No, in Connecticut.
Oh, in Connecticut,
of
course.
I must have misspoke. I'm sorry.
No, well, it's just not following you. Like you got this.
No. So
your son says, "Let's get a tattoo of South Carolina in Connecticut."
Right, because that is correct. Because we love South Carolina, we love Charleston, and he loves Charleston. And when he gets out of college, he thinks he may want to live there and so forth. And he goes to college in Virginia, and he loves that area. So he's like. So he and I, he asked me to get matching tattoos.
I'm still waiting for the part where I feel bad.
Here?
I feel great.
Yeah, wait, Virginia, in what way is South Carolina?
I don't understand.
They don't border each other, to my knowledge.
It's a father and son.
Yeah.
moment.
But you said my son lives in Virginia, therefore we love South Carolina. Virginia is essentially a suburb, Northern Virginia, of D.C., and I don't believe that Virginia neighbors South Carolina in any way.
The whole conversation was South Carolina. Then we're in Connecticut. Now we're in Virginia.
Yeah, like you're like, well, my son's been to Russia, so of course he's a big Carolina fan.
How old are you, Gary? Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, Gary. Where does he go? He goes to University of Virginia?
No. He goes to Lynchburg.
Okay.
Which is south, which is southern Virginia.
Well, I lived in Atlanta. I didn't get an Arkansas Razorback tattoo.
Well, but Atlanta's really a northern city.
Of course, Gary. There's no southern culture there at all.
Can we start over?
Yeah, but I mean,
Atlanta's more south than most of Virginia. Go ahead.
It was a father and son bonding moment. He's like, Dad, get a tattoo with me.
Okay.
So we had a day. We went down. We got a tattoo. My daughter also was there, and I never thought I would have a tattoo. I'm not. But they're into him. He's going to go get another one. He's got a couple.
Did he get South Carolina?
Yeah, we have matching tattoos. He has the exact same tattoo as I do. We have it at the same place on our forearm, and it was a father and son thing. Wow. We had a moment.
So, you know what? I egg on my face. Great story, and I feel awful.
I don't know if you feel bad.
Did you pick it off the wall? Why didn't you just get like a wizard holding the world in a crystal ball or something?
Because as a family, my son who goes to college in Virginia decided to get a tattoo.
Gary, this doesn't make any sense.
Gary, leave that
Couldn't
out.
you have gotten something cool with like lynching and bergs and stuff in it? I just like that my son lives in Virginia, so we got South Carolina tattoos.
Leave out the Virginia part. Leave that out.
How many times have you been to South Carolina in your life?
Probably 5.
Oh, well, I could see that being what you wanted to represent on your as Hardy said in your dominant arm.
It was. Okay, Fred.
I've been. By the way, I've been to South Carolina maybe 5 times as many as you. I've probably been to South Carolina at least 25 times in my life. But go ahead.
I see you on Instagram. You go into a lot of Lions games. I see you doing things with your son.
Yes, I'm very close with my kids, yes.
Exactly, which if they came to you...
I would say get your own identity. You don't want the same thing as me.
Or you would say, no, you would say, I need my own identity. I don't want the same... I did it for him. We did. He asked me to do it with him.
But don't you feel weird now when you're out with your son and you're in like your posers, like that you got these South Carolina tattoos? And
no, not at all. Why am I a poser? My son asked me to do it.
Well, you got a tattoo of something you've been to 5 times. That doesn't seem like...
We love it. We actually talk about maybe living there someday.
Ooh, well, that's bold. You had a conversation about it?
Did you check the local real estate the last time you were down there?
Actually,
no one does that on vacation.
Did you get on Zillow?
We have looked at real estate. Yes, we have looked at real estate.
Oh.
Yes, we have, and we have friends that live there.
But what will you do? How could you move your career down there, Gary?
My career? What career? I know.
All right,
yeah, that'd be tough.
All right,
but people, I just find it amazing. Like I put that picture out. And Hardy says, "Where'd you get that to?" And I went, "Oh my God! I mean, who cares?"
We do.
I'm fascinated with your fascination.
We like you, and then when you do things, we're interested.
We love you, and we are all consumed with all
Gary,
things.
Why do we? I love this. Why do we care? Because we like you, and you did something interesting. That's why we care.
And I appreciate that.
Why does I hate that. I know you didn't mean it that way, and you're not being negative. But this is a kind of a tangent. I hate when people go like, "Why do you care?" Well, I care because, first of all, if I care about someone individually, it's because I care about them. Yeah. Like it was interesting. It seemed out of character for you. I'm not making fun of you for saying that.
I mean, that's the point. I hear you, Fred, and I appreciate that, and I understand. We know that, and I appreciate that. But it's people do think it's out of character. That's the thing I find interesting.
And it's kind of like a random thing, and it's big, right? Like it's big, and it's in a prominent spot. It's even bigger than where I have a tattoo. Like I have my daughter's name on my left forearm, and I got a dumb tattoo I got when I was wasted on my right arm. But it's not on my forearm, so it can be covered up. So, but just the state flag of South Carolina, like you don't seem like a it's almost like Buffett in a way, like it's because if you didn't know South Carolina, and the only reason I know it is because I go there all the time, but and I thought it was Hilton Head. I didn't even know it was South Carolina. I was in Charleston I was in South Carolina twice last year. I spent 2 weeks in South Carolina last year.
Yeah, I
was in Charleston for a tournament. I took my daughter there, Hilton Head. I thought it was Hilton Head, so it was just I recognized the image. And then I saw that it was on your forearm, and it was so large, and it begged a lot of questions. A, that you had a tattoo. B, that it was that. There was like just a lot of it, and there's still really no explanation. Were you guys sober when you got them?
What's that? Oh yeah, I don't drink.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I have no excuse.
All right,
my son's not old enough.
He's old enough to get a big ass tattoo.
No, my son drinks. Believe me, no, I just never. he asked me to do it, and I will say this is when we told my wife expected us to get it was going to be small, but then when we went, he goes, Dad, let's get it, let's do big. I said, okay, kid, let's go big or go home.
Right.
And then
you feel like you're losing him. You feel like he's moving away. Like you feel like that he's getting old and that this connects you in some way.
Oh, well, any father goes through that.
Of course.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, when your kid asks you to do something in high school or college and they go, come hang with me. Oh, God, yeah. Totally.
Right.
Totally. I never thought I would have a tattoo. It's never been my thing. Like, I never, you know.
Probably should have gone with that instinct.
No, I mean, we had a great time. And it's a connection.
It's over now.
You know,
well, how's this going to affect your acting?
Oh, good question.
Oh, yeah.
Very good question.
Oh, well, they'll put makeup on it if they ever need it, but so far it hasn't been an issue. Yeah, long sleeves. You put on. I have long sleeves.
But what if
But they would just put makeup on it.
Would they have to write a backstory where someone's very into South Carolina because they've been there 5 times?
No. There are actors that have tattoos all the time. They have covered it up with makeup before.
Okay.
They just cover it up with makeup. It's not a big deal.
All right. Well, look, maybe you can. When you go down to South Carolina, everyone will go. If you live here, why did you get a tattoo of our state flag?
Yeah, because my son asked me to do it, and that's the bottom line.
Why don't you just get a Confederate
exactly
flag? That would be more respected down there.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Yes,
General Lee.
I was going to say Robert E. Lee. Yes, on the other arm.
Because that was the Georgia state flag when I lived there.
Plus,
for a part of the time
I got to tell you something. For someone like me who has been very, conservative's not the right word, but maybe buttoned up like Joe Sports guy, suit and tie. When I got a tattoo, and this is going to sound corny as hell, I felt a little like this is crazy.
Right.
For me, I was like, I'm really pushing the envelope here, which I'm really not. But for me, I was. It was out of character, which I kind of felt dangerous for a day, which when you look at it is kind of lame, but that's me.
No, I think that's part of the whole tattoo experience. Yeah, it's a rebellious thing. You're
right.
Yeah, you're defacing your body for the rest of your life.
Right.
Awesome.
Right. Exactly. Right.
All right. Well, Gary, look, congratulations on how long have you had it?
A couple of years.
Oh, really? Gary,
yeah.
Gary, you got to let the puppies breathe a little bit more. You got to let those arms out. I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen it.
Let the guns out. Sure.
All right, Gary. Well, look,
it's always great talking to you.
What are you up
Thanks
to?
for noticing, Fred. Hey, Fred.
Yeah.
Doing a little WBZ radio this week. So.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
That's a nightmare, huh?
It gets me out of the house.
Right. I understand.
They ask me to do they'll ask me to do more, and I go, I can do a couple days, and that's it. And it's just, it's something that, I can't, especially in the political climate now, I can't do it, a lot of it.
What night are you on?
Wednesday and Thursday.
All right.
I like it very much when you do it because when people call in to yell at you, I like how you just are like, all right, screw it. I do like that. Like you're just like, I know I'm not sure. You're just like, sure. You're like, all right, well, yeah, sure.
You win, great theory.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're the best. You're the political expert. Thank you so much for calling in. That you really put me in my place.
You can't win.
No, you literally cannot win. It's insane.
You can't win, and I don't. I wish I cared enough to win, but I don't. So,
and if you bring up anything and you go like, well, I know this for a fact, they go, how do you know it? And you'd be like, well, I I've read it in several places, and they'd be like, well, that's not that they're lying to you.
Yeah.
Like the idea of that anything is a fact anymore is just completely misguided.
That is a scary situation.
All right. Well, Gary, you're right in the throes of it. So there you have it. Well, listen, Gary, thank you. Enjoy yourself on WBZ radio. And we always care about you, Gary, no matter how much you try to fight it. We do care about
Fred,
you.
I really appreciate it. It's great talking to you guys.
All right. Take it
Thanks,
easy.
Gary.
See you, Gary.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
All right. That was no explanation still of why. They've been there 5 times. I was there twice last year.
But at least it was clear why it happened. I mean, Jesus.
We love South Carolina. How many times have you been there? 5.
That took 7 minutes,
Guy's
and we were
60
right
years
back
old.
at the start. I had no idea what was going
I
on.
feel like a jerk for asking now.
Oh, that was the thing. The buildup was great, too, to the story. It's like, I have an answer. Wait till you hear this.
Well, my son lives in Virginia, so, we figured that we would go to Connecticut and get South Carolina tattoos. The logic is bulletproof.
Perfect for a talk show host. Oh, my God.
But it is funny when people go like, why do you care? Well, I care because I care. I mean, it's because it interests me. That's why I care. Like, why do you care? Why do you care about Belichick? Because it's funny. If you can't get it, then you don't get it. I mean, he's a public figure. It's someone that I find interesting. It's interesting that all this craziness is happening. It's fun. If you don't find it interesting, that's fine. I mean, if you might like Russian literature, which I don't have a passion for.
No, but I think you and I share that, and John too. I say it to my wife all the time. I said, never mistake me for the guy who doesn't care. More often than not, I will have a thought or an opinion or something having to do with this, whether it's something with the house or the kids or anything. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I don't say, I don't care. I don't care. That does
not knowing and not caring are different.
Yeah, I might say it, but I rarely feel it. No, I'm more inclined to care.
Yeah,
and about Gary Tanguay's tattoos or anything else.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then people mistake also caring for like obsessing, which I am obsessed with Belichick. But like if you like care about something or you have any like curiosity about something, therefore they're living rent free in your head or something. Like you don't have a moment without thinking about it. It's this you're obsessing about it constantly. In fact, I didn't even remember we were having Gary on until this morning. I mean, but it is interesting. I saw the tattoo. I thought it was very interesting. All right, Gary's a great guy, even though that didn't make any sense. We'll be back in just a moment.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way.
What I Mean podcast. Which is guys. Their podcast is called You Never Know. NEVA no. Hyphen you know what I mean. So it's a lot of fun. And Aaron Rodgers was on that one. And in this podcast, two guys interview people. It's a new concept. But we'll get to that. But I did have time this weekend to sit down and watch streaming television. One of these apps. Mm-hmm. And right there it said Brett Favre, disaster. Everything is a disaster. And Brett Favre's story. Now, one thing that Brett Favre did that was pretty interesting that doesn't get a lot of cover in it is just how badly he defrauded the taxpayers of Mississippi. His daughter was a volleyball player at Ole Miss. Brett Favre had a charity. The government of Mississippi took money from their welfare fund, which, by the way, isn't like all that great anyway. And the poverty in Mississippi is like insane, and the welfare system sucks there anyway. They were explaining that welfare recipients get $250 a month or something like that, and Favre defrauded them to build some multi-million-dollar volleyball facility at the University of Mississippi. There's text messages of him going, "Can I get in trouble for this? Will the media find out about this?" I mean, with government agents actively doing it. I mean, he's a piece of crap.
Yeah, he was never arrested, but I think he had to pay back about $1 million or something like that.
Well, that will show him. And but there was this thing. It also focuses a lot on the Jen Sturger thing, who was the girl that was discovered at Brett Musburger said that every hot-blooded American man is now applying to Florida State. She went into Playboy and Maxim and all those things. She's really good looking. The Jets hired her as announcer at the Jet games. Favre, she's never even met him or talked to him. Favre got her number from someone with the team. He started texting her. He sent her that penis pic. AJ Delario was the editor at Deadspin. Her and him were talking, and he said something about athletes hitting on women, and she goes, "That's nothing compared to what I went through." She tells him about Brett Favre. She sends him a pic of the penis. She says, if you ever release this, don't put my name on it. Delario sends her an email back and says, "I'm putting your name on it." It comes out. It ruined Jen Sturger's career and didn't affect Favre really at all, except for some uncomfortable questions. He's still in the Packers Hall of Fame, and he's still, doing whatever he's got to do. He was doing Wrangler commercials and things like that. And not like Favre should have lost his career or anything for that, but it is interesting that when they put in that kind of perspective that it hurt Jen Sturger more than it hurt him. And all she really did was show the picture to AJ Delario. And somehow it put some kind of, scarlet letter on her is kind of interesting. But the reason I want to play this is there might be a problem in Green Bay if you're a quarterback. Just with how maybe this explains some of Aaron Rodgers. Here are some people in Green Bay talking about the way Brett Favre was treated there.
I grew up watching this guy with my dad, oh man, this guy's amazing. What an awesome person. And then you really find out who people are.
I was at every home and road game for 5 years. And anybody here who was covering the team, who was paying attention, wasn't surprised. People like to pretend they were, they weren't. Good to see he finally got called out on it, because he definitely was not going to get called out on it when he was here. You didn't really see him except in passing. He wasn't in the locker room with the rest of the team. There would be some people that are like, yeah, he's not the player he used to be. But other people would be like, how dare you ever criticize, Brett Favre?
In the life of Brett Favre, not everything is what it seems.
He starts to go through life thinking, I can do whatever I want. At what level does that stop?
All right. So, by the way, he's still married to this woman. He was just out banging everyone. And not only that, because I would imagine that if you're a successful athlete that got married young, there might be some kind of arrangement. But it's kind of like throwing it in the face of your wife over and over again, where if I was the woman, even if that was the arrangement, I might be kind of pissed off. Look, I understand you're going to go out and bang other women. I understand this is just the way that our relationship is, but I would like it if it wasn't so public and so insanely in my face. So basically what they were saying is that when Favre was there, he was up to all kinds of shenanigans. By the way, I forgot how many times he retired. He was just a diva. I mean, you want to talk about a diva? Him and Rodgers, man. The two of them, and these guys I guess they're treated like such gods in Green Bay. And even though it's a small town, you still are playing NFL football. It's almost like a science experiment because you get kind of dumb guys from, right out of college, and you thrust them into this situation where there's consequence-free living, and people just say, like, everything you think is right. Like, no matter what you say, it's right, and your ass is kissed to such a degree that you kind of come out like a broken person. So anyway, Aaron Rodgers was on You Never Know - You Know What I Mean, that podcast, which was not episode 107 Change, that wasn't it. Or episode 103 Frequency, or episode 101 Hardy, which I'm not joking, is a guy named Hardy.
Oh.
Which is not you. It looks like a Kid Rock's brother.
It's a country music musician, I believe, named Hardy.
Oh, well, there you go.
Nice. There you go.
Well, they had talked to him. They interviewed him. They got him to sit down.
Delightful.
And here is what Aaron Rodgers had to say in You Never Know - You Know What I Mean. Here's what he had to say about retiring, Hardy. You have the audio.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm looking up the You Never Know podcast because it sounds fascinating. But instead, okay. So this is Aaron Rodgers about his retirement as a Packer.
Will you retire a Packer if the opportunity arises?
I've thought about that, and I don't understand what the reason for that is. At the same time, I grew up a Niner fan, and most of my favorite players retired as a Niner. Jerry Rice, who went to 3 other teams, really, he came back and retired as a Niner. So I understand the cool thing about it, but if I didn't do it, would that make a difference in how I'm viewed in the Packers' eyes?
That's a wonderful existential question, Aaron.
Why do any of it? Why would I retire as a Packer? I don't know. Why play football? Why do anything?
Why?
Because it's entertainment, and it's something that people like to consume and celebrate. And part of the celebration extends to when you're done playing, will you be forever remembered as a member of that team?
Well, why you do it is so you can get into I think he might talk about it, but why you do it is so they will have a big celebration for you and you'll get that last moment of glory.
Right. Okay, so we'll get to that, but first, if the Packers were to approach him.
There's a lot of love from me and how I feel about the team. If I do or if I don't think it should make a difference. I'm not sure yet. If they approached me about it, I probably would.
The audio quality is fantastic. Yeah. First of all, thank you to the You Never Know NEVA You Know What I Mean podcast for the great audio content. Talking to him
That's just as good as when he goes on McAfee. It's about the same quality.
Well, because he demands to be outside because he can't be constrained by walls.
Yeah, Ryan's saying this was one of those live on stage taping.
Well, you can hear the murmuring of the crowd.
You Never Know, You Know What I Mean podcast live.
Yeah, it was actually I was surprised. It was at Gillette yesterday. It was a big scene.
So the Hall of Fame thing. Here we go.
If I didn't do it, would that make a difference in how I'm viewed in the Packers' eyes? When I retire in 4 years, I'm going to go into the Packer Hall of Fame. May or may not get my number retired. Whether they do it or not, that's fine. But in 4 years, I'll be in the Packer Hall of Fame.
If they don't, that's crazy.
Well, there you go. Hard-hitting stuff from the You Never Know podcast. He says he'll be into the Packer Hall of Fame, but the host says if they don't, it would be crazy. He was the quarterback of a Super Bowl winning team. I would imagine that they would honor him in some way. But it is the
but
thing.
Why?
Yeah.
Does it matter?
If they don't,
you know what? You know what? To those poor sons of bitches in Green Bay that got nothing else to live for, it means everything. Aaron gave them a reason to live. But it is interesting if you follow the Favre thing and how Aaron Rodgers has become post-retirement. It is, and they kind of have the guys that work in Green Bay that they talk to that covered the team, kind of all share the same thought of it's just they love it so much, and it's such a small town with nothing else going on, and you're so protected and so loved that it kind of damages you as a human being. And then imagine going back to like Mississippi after that, where they got nothing going on, and you're like every bar has got Brett Favre high school jerseys in it and everything. Like he's got no business screwing around with the government. Like the government's just letting him screw around with like state funds and stuff. Like what does he know? He's a big stupid hick. What does he know? I mean, he knows he's ripping them off, but he is.
Yeah.
But like, will the media find out about it? You know, like he's texting government officials. They're texting him back. They're all brain dead idiots. I mean, they're real stupid. Like, you're defrauding the government. Well, I don't know. Everyone's talking apparently now on text messaging. The Pentagon, everyone. But no one's got anything kept private. But it is kind of funny that like these will never come out. I'll just start writing it all down. I'll just write everything down. You never know. Someone could print them all out, give them to your boss.
Did you ever watch a movie? Did you ever see someone who didn't want to say anything over the phone or didn't want to put it in writing? Like, even if you don't think it's going to be an issue, it's just to err on the side of not putting it in writing or even saying it out loud.
Fundamental knowledge of how the world actually works.
Yeah, if you're defrauding the government, the government and you should not be directly talking about it via text message. You know, it gets printed out and put into court.
Yeah.
And then you got to go. And it was funny. He was talking to like the Senate or something, like a subcommittee about it. And one of the guys they show is joshing with him about like he's like, you know, I'm just like you. I played high school quarterback, and the two of them having a good chuckle over it.
That's funny.
Don't worry about that misplaced public funds. You're good.
But it is funny because like he took money from
the welfare,
and they're like, you know, he's really got no connection to Ole Miss. He didn't go to Ole Miss. Like, he's got no connection to Ole Miss. He didn't go there. He went to Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. So, like, his daughter
was on the
volleyball team. So he just did it to build his daughter like a volleyball facility.
Yeah,
and so like, and they just gave him the money. They were like, here, take it out of the welfare system.
Right.
No one cares.
Right. No, there's very few people on welfare in this state to begin with.
Yeah, they all are, and they only get $250 a month, which is interesting how they're surviving. But there you go. Well, why don't they get jobs? I don't think it's that easy in Mississippi. I don't know how many jobs there are floating around in Mississippi or how many educational opportunities are there, but there you go. All right. So go listen to that. It's one of those podcasts. It's a rare one where they two random guys interview people. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines presented by
cute.
He's really trying hard.
He's getting it's a very on the nose too. You could have played No Effects, Don't Drink and Drive. You could spill your drink.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
I'm doing the work for you.
Could have
Put
played-
you on the news.
Could have played Stevie Wonder, Don't Drive Drunk, which is it's a little tougher to discern the meaning of the song and the message he's trying to get across. In that
Why?
one. Well, is he really saying don't drive drunk, or is he? I guess he is, because he says it over and over and over again in the chorus. But some say Stevie lost his fastball. Right about that time.
Well, he hasn't had a song in 45
I
years.
just called to say I love you. Don't drive drunk. Were they? I mean, they weren't on Musicarium for a reason.
Well, well, I mean, he introduced Theo to sampling, if you recall, jamming on the one. When Theo is, I didn't know we were bringing up Stevie Wonder, but when he asked Theo, and he goes, jamming on the one, jamming on the one, then you know how old we are.
Yes.
Stevie Wonder's still alive. Look at that.
I think he's still performing, too.
Stevie Wonder, I would watch Stevie. Oh, I told you, I randomly ended up at the big Grammy party that guy throws every year at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Yeah.
The big, what's his face? The big, I didn't even know what was going on. Someone gave us a password to get in, and I went downstairs, and Stevie Wonder was playing for like a room full of people. NSYNC were there and stuff.
Yeah, he just performed at the Met Gala at the beginning of this month.
What the hell was the guy's name? He has that party every year. Forget it. It doesn't matter to anyone but me. I'll have to look it up. It's the big Grammy party. It's like this. I can't believe they let us in. It was insane. I was wearing like a T-shirt. All right. Anyway, the reason that we played this, and it's not going to require a lot of time, but Hardy, out of all the women that he has ever obsessed over, and when he first started on the show, we went into great detail about this because it is funny. He has this legitimate attraction to Mary Lou Retton. Like, he was obsessed with her, not only as a young boy, but as a man. He has had this, he met her and he got all like wound up, and he had this letter that he had written to her when he was a kid, and we went over it a lot. But a little scandal around Mary Lou Retton. I mean, nothing terrible, but she made a mistake, Hardy.
She did, but let's just relive a moment. After I had written that letter and rode my bike over to the Kmart where she was doing an autograph signing and asked her to sign below the fold where I had typed out, "Dear Rob, you're one burning hunk of man. Too bad you're not a few years older. Love, comma." Folded
Hoping
it.
she doesn't flip that page over.
She did flip it over.
Yeah.
She read it. And I told her this story years later when we were at the Super Bowl in Houston. Do you remember? And number two, what do you think?
Oh, I think I can only answer yes.
Oh,
I can only answer yes.
It's happening. Yeah.
She's talking to you like you're a dog.
Right.
Aw. I can only answer yes. You want a treat?
Who's been a good boy?
You want a treat?
I have been a good boy, and I've waited all these years for you, and now here it is. We can consummate our relationship.
Was she in a position of power in that interview? Like, I think you're equals in that interview at this point at that stages in your careers.
May have been.
What was she advertising? Do you remember?
No idea.
Yeah, because it could have been anything. I mean, we interviewed Mike Ditka one time. He's toilet paper. He was walking around advertising toilet paper. He had a handler holding toilet paper while we talked to him. It's awful clean.
Do you remember any other interviews from your time on Radio Row? Nope, just the toilet paper guy.
Just remember being so frustrated.
So
the roll is free, but it doesn't seem to have anything on it. It's new.
Well, the reason why we bring up Mary Lou Retton is that she was arrested for driving under the influence in Marion County earlier this month, Fairmont, West Virginia. 57-year-old Mary Lou Retton.
She's got a tattoo, by the way, of the state flag of Oklahoma.
Charged with one misdemeanor count of driving under the influence, controlled substances or drugs on Saturday, May 17th. The judge gave America's sweetheart a $1,500 personal recognizance bond. Court records state.
Now, it's weird that it's almost unfair to Mary Lou Retton because we got sent this like a million times. Like this is on the news. Like, she should be able to get a DUI in West Virginia without it being news. Like she's put in her dues. 1984 was a long time ago. Like, should she really be vilified 41 years later for getting a DUI? I mean, listen, she made a mistake. Do you know what the controlled substance was?
No, it's just, I think that's the catch-all. You're driving under the influence of alcohol, controlled substance.
Right.
Blah, blah,
you
blah.
shouldn't drink and drive, but I mean, she should be able to do it without being bothered in Boston, don't you think?
Yeah, but people are kind of putting her under the microscope now. She had that rare, the quote-unquote rare form of pneumonia. They started the GoFundMe page for in 2023, and they started a GoFundMe for hospital bills, and people were like, how does Mary Lou Retton not have health insurance for some of this stuff? Like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden she was okay and she was home, and people wondered what they needed all that money for. And there's been some questions.
Yeah, the GoFundMes are never a good idea. Sometimes they're like a nice story, but oftentimes I just don't think if you're famous you should put up a GoFundMe. That's basically it. Like when Alyssa Milano put one up for her son's baseball team and stuff like that, like it just doesn't look good.
So this was almost a year ago now. They got $459,000 in donations. And this is from the hard-hitting journalists at USA Today. So even USA Today putting out a semi-hit piece.
And they don't even give you that at the hotel anymore.
She and her family won't say how it's being spent.
See, that's too much money. Like, if she got 10 grand, then you'd be like, all right. But then you start getting like $500,000. Like, you reporting that to the government? Like, how's this all working out? Like, are these donations? Do you have to pay taxes on them? Is this just cash being handed to you?
When asked why her mother wasn't covered by medical insurance, Kelly said that Retton could not get affordable health care because of pre-existing conditions. Other people dug into that.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, well, other people dug into that and said, actually, you can are you still in the state of Texas? Where are you living? What's all this going on? Way too many questions about that.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that. Maybe she should get crap for DUI if she can raise $450,000 on a GoFundMe. All right. We'll be back in just a moment. If you thought that there's no more Jordan news, you are sadly mistaken. We didn't talk about it yesterday because no one was listening. We're bringing it back today. And I also want to read you a random comment under one of our Instagram videos interviewing Pablo Torre, and I want your thoughts on it.
All right.
It seems someone's taking it rather personally. I would like your thoughts. I just raised it to Hardy off the air. I really want Adam, you too. I just want your thoughts. I don't read every comment, but I read this one, and it struck me queer. I found it a little odd. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the...
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the sports.
Getting preposterous, and now it's starting to. There's information coming out that she was screwing around and staying with him at the team hotel before games, and she was wearing red pants during games and practices. She was everywhere. She was a distraction to Bill Belichick, which was his whole mantra, was don't have distractions. He's handed over his business and his off-field career to her, and she's burning that to the ground. She literally could not be a worse PR person. She's caused nothing but bad PR for him. And so Pablo Torre has been following this very closely, and we'll get the audio from him in just a moment. Pablo Torre has been the Woodward and Bernstein of this whole affair. And we talked to him, and we'll put videos up. Nick will put them up periodically on Instagram. And there's so much going on Instagram. I don't sit under them and read all the comments, but sometimes I'll just look at my feed on Instagram. And this morning, 48 minutes ago, from a account, 5 followers, all of them Arlington residents, including Arlington Chair, a new Arlington business hoping to help the community as a whole with all your chair needs. So if you're in Arlington and happen to need a chair, there's a business that has said, listen, we're making chairs.
Come on in.
Nothing else.
Have a seat.
Nothing else, to my knowledge. Just chairs. If you need a chair, if you're out of Arlington, you're gonna have to take your chances. But if you need a chair in Arlington, we're the place for chairs. And I'm going to read this comment to you.
It's kind of like the stools they made in Blaine, Missouri, and Waiting for Guffman. They were famous for their stools.
Yeah. This is why are you so jealous and miserable? Oh, this is the picture of him with his shirt off. Why are you so jealous and miserable? Right. I don't know. I was an only child. You have low current sports knowledge. You spread negativity everywhere. All you do is nitpick others' lives because you are so miserable with your own. You can't be thankful for anything. Working with you must be like hell. And then very quickly delete it. But to be perfectly clear, I stand by reporting and the episodes we published. At Pablo Finds Out. Now, as all great PR persons, she's constantly monitoring social media and responding to it, which is what you should do in a PR crisis. That's PR 101, is keep fanning the flames of it, especially to the guy whose story it is. Keep calling him out for being a bad journalist, because that will stop him. If you ever wanted him to lose interest, it's get personally involved in it. And what she said is she put something up at the Ring Company, and it's the conversation she had with the landlord at the time they had this. She felt the need to put this text message conversation she had with the landlord of the Airbnb that
it's a real gotcha moment. It's a real smoking gun in this whole situation.
So she felt the need. You tell me why she put this up on Twitter. She put this on Twitter, this conversation she had at the time of her having the rendezvous Airbnb with Bill Belichick that Pablo Torre visited. This is from the landlord. Hi, I didn't charge the guest fee, but our neighbors are here now and warned me about guest parking in front of their place. This is your last night, just reiterating that the parking is prohibited. Thanks again for choosing C'est La Vie. That's fun. Instead of C'est La Vie. C'est La Vie. That's the basement unit of the place in Winthrop. They've named it like you would a great sailing vessel. She says TY. That means thank you, I would imagine.
Yes.
Also, I didn't see anything about guest fee on the website. Reading the fine print now, -gotcha. For us, the parking was a bigger issue than the guest fee. That's why I didn't bother to ask you for it. She says, all good based on the conversation we had in the unit. I thought the issue, and then I can't read anymore because it cuts off. But that explains everything that you need to know, is that she had that conversation with the landlord.
Yeah.
Well, Pablo Torre found the landlord of the Airbnb. And according to Pablo Torre Finds Out, this is him on his podcast talking to the person whose Airbnb it was that Belichick was filmed without his shirt on leaving. Is a massive male bosom exposed for all to see as he confusingly looked around where he was illegally parked.
As a new host, I tried to make it a point to meet people, and I couldn't meet her right when she arrived. So I came in, and I'd come off the golf course, and we were just chatting about different things. And That's when she said that she wanted to know how far Danvers was. And I was like, oh, are you getting married? She's like, no, I compete in pageants. And I said, well, we're members at the golf course. You should come and play with us. You know, my friends have clubs they can lend you.
Yeah, she said she played. That's
yeah, she said she played. And she also said she prefers the men's senior shaft.
Hello.
Come on.
Hello.
She prefers the men's senior shaft.
Come on.
She remembered that fun joke about the men's senior shaft that she liked playing with her golf clubs. You see?
Mm-hmm.
She's very self-aware. She already had material for the Bill Belichick roast that she was planning with her big little cub bear company.
Trouble Cub.
Trouble Cub Company.
Trouble Cub.
Laying ablaze all of your legacies, one legacy at a time.
Yeah, that's their company. That's on their masthead.
Put that right on the business card.
It's like hire me and do the opposite. This is your.
We'll burn your world to the ground.
Yeah, this is the place to go to really get your family pissed off at you.
How's your career? How's your career? Are you in any trouble? I can fix that, and I'm cute like a cub. Trouble Cub.
I'm Trouble Cub.
Clubs they can lend you.
Yeah, she said she played. That's
yeah, she said she played, and she also said she prefers the men's senior shaft. We saw the ring video in the morning, not knowing who this was, but it was an older gentleman with a very young woman who checked in the night before, and a car parked up where it said no parking was worrisome to us that this is going to shut us down. We need to make sure that they know registered guests cannot.
She said, she's like, she's with this creepy old guy. It's either a relative or a drug dealer. What was her first thing? Because of the age discrepancy. Remember, you go, must be a freaking coke dealer. And I was like, what? Come on.
Crazy.
So that was her first reaction. And then I started looking. I'm like, that does look like Belichick. And then I saw the walk. But at first, we thought she was like a dancer or an escort. I mean, I was like, she could be freaking dead.
As the week went on, we were thinking that
because
she was an escort or something.
Because she had multiple, like, she said she was a dancer, and like it was just something was off about it. You know, like it just didn't make sense.
And that's the relationship when you want people to think immediately you're a whore because there's no other explanation for why you two would be in a room together. Is that there had to be money exchanged, the man paying you. There's no other explanation. And he's parking illegally, which is also smart when you want to keep things a secret, as is reviewing the Airbnb after you stayed, as Jordan did, in all her brilliance. Her secret liaison that she apparently wanted to keep secret, she decided under her own name to leave a review of the place. All right, and here is more of how this video got leaked.
When it comes to how the video originally circulated, how did it get out? This was the original mystery that compelled me to even go, which was like, where did this come from? How did this get out here? Who leaked it? And they wanted to be extraordinarily clear that not only was it not them, they regret not making money off of this because this is what happened.
She showed it to me the next morning, and I said, no, come on, don't be foolish. And she had sent it to a girlfriend of hers. The girlfriend right away said, that's definitely him.
I don't think we ever really thought of it in that way until we probably saw when someone other than us released the video, and then when it was on the Netflix special, and then it came out a few more times. So I think it's kind of crazy now to think about.
They sent it to some friends and were like, is this Bill Belichick, the favorite coach of the man who co-owns this house? And everybody that they sent it to was like, of course it is Bill Belichick.
Somebody, do they think one of their friends might have profited off of it?
I think there is a chain of custody beyond which they have zero visibility.
Yeah.
And lots of people clearly were like trading this video.
All right, so it was traded like the old clips of yore when you would have VHS videos of, like a guy falling off a building or something. Like Faces of Death. It was traded like that. The Bill Belichick ring cam video was the Faces of Death of our generation.
It's like a snuff film.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like this is never to be leaked, but this is for your own personal enjoyment.
She's with this creepy old guy.
Yeah, which they thought was a prostitute. And I would assume that if you are the owner of an Airbnb and you think that there's a prostitute turning tricks in your Airbnb, that you start looking into things, right? Like you start getting concerned and you like look at the ring camera footage and stuff like that. It's fairly innocent. And then you see Bill Belichick, so you send it to friends. It's interesting. Like we got this place in Winthrop. It's like a dumb Airbnb at the basement of our place. It's in Winthrop. And now Bill Belichick, of all people, who's got 17 rings boat in Nantucket. He's staying in Winthrop with this like teenager. Like, what the hell's going on? Who says she's a dancer and is going, are you by Danvers? I'm in pageants. She seems to really hang her hat on these pageants. She seems awfully, her identity completes, when it's not banging old guys and being a PR disaster, it seems awfully contingent on being a runner-up in pageants.
I didn't think it was fair initially to say that Belichick looked like
Must be a freaking coke dealer.
The coke dealer, because he's talking about Belichick there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then, you mentioned the boat. He's running stuff in and out of ports any time of night. 7 rings. Maybe he's talking about coke rings, the Uncle Baby Billy style. You just keep a little toot right there on your ring finger.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe he does have a profile of a coke dealer.
So you think that when he stands above the bed, when Jordan lays upon the bed, that he opens up his coke ring and goes, "Oh, let this one give me the strength to get through this.
Lord Jesus, come on now.
Come on now. Make this cocaine do its thing, Lord."
Girl, stay still. Y'all play too much. Let's go.
So there you go. The people thought when they saw it, she said she likes playing with an old shaft, which was a little
She
joke.
prefers the men's senior shaft.
She likes the senior shaft, is what she said. And he is a senior citizen that she's having sex with. But Pablo Torre...
yeoman's work.
Keep getting instigated. You keep instigating him, and he keeps. You're just giving him more reason to keep investigating this thing. And the more you tell him that he's doing the wrong thing, the more he's going to dig his heels in, and then we're really going to get more. All I'm doing is thinking it's funny and responding to what he's basically reporting. That's all I'm doing. Mike Florio's really got a hair up his ass too about this thing. Mike Florio's all fired up. He wants to know where Lombardi is. He found out that the podcast that he was on with Ryan Clark, this is kind of funny. The podcast that he was on with Ryan Clark, one of the co-hosts has a real radio show, and he went on his radio show and he goes, "Oh, by the way, that was all set up beforehand. Like Belichick told Ryan what he wanted him to ask and how he was going to answer the questions. And now when you go to the guy's radio show, which is podcasted just like ours, that podcast isn't up anymore. That part is gone. They took that part out. Ryan Clark didn't like it, I would assume, and got it taken down. So Bill Belichick's media tour, when he went to the Ryan... So sometimes when you're listening to these podcasts, they're not on the level. Strangely enough, with all that on the line, and the millions of dollars that Ryan Clark stands to make from that podcast.
You mean it's an agreed-upon set of questions and answers that they lay out ahead of time?
According to Ryan Clark's co-host, Ryan Clark was willing to put his podcast credibility on the line.
And the other part of it that you just touched on is that Michael Lombardi can't throw himself enough in front of his buddy Belichick. He's been strangely silent the last month or so.
But he's been busy signing players that the coaches don't actually want.
Which is something that we heard.
Yes.
We've all heard that Michael Lombardi has been effing up that job pretty good, as you would probably imagine.
But at least he makes like $1 million to do it.
Let's just put it this way. To our understanding, it's a bit of chaos around the North Carolina football program right now, and it's not all having to do with Jordan, to be fair. A lot of it is the ineptitude of Michael Lombardi. We have heard. Now, is that true or not, I do not know. But he is a public figure, and this is information that has been told to the three of us, is that... there was we'll just give you one instance, that there was an instance where there was some confusion of why a player was getting a scholarship based on the lack of conversation that had been had, and the coaching staffs questioning why this player was getting a scholarship. Michael Lombardi, kind of a rogue GM, we've been told.
So that June 1st date is looming. That is the buyout date for Bill Belichick. Where they can not owe him the $10 million, but the...
What the buyout is?
$1 million.
Sunday.
Thank you very much.
Sunday.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think there's any way it's going to happen. They sold out their season tickets for the football team. I think that they just bear down. They've laid the law down, like, let's stop this. Like, we don't want her around. We don't want you out in public with her. We don't want any of this anymore.
Publicly, A.D. Bubba's been very, very supportive. I just wonder how much more he can take. I guess he's got to ride it out for a year to save.
Pablo Torre, I believe that they told him. I believe that they've had a meeting. She wasn't in New York for the GMA interview. She's like I don't know if they've been out together, like at anything like public affairs or anything like that. But I would imagine that they're like from now until the end of the football season.
Yeah, back off.
You we don't like I mean, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Wouldn't you go like I don't want her on the field?
Of course.
Like you're making a mockery
All
of the
This has
program.
been idiocy and lunacy. This is actually the normal thing to do. Would be like, Bill, come on. Enough.
I believe Pablo Torre's reporting on that. I really do. I don't think that he would jeopardize his journalistic career and say that he had like 11 sources on it from the program, high up in the program, telling him these things. And I think North Carolina told Pablo Torre because they wanted it publicly out that they had called Belichick out on it. I mean, it serves them to tell Pablo Torre that because it makes it sound like they have some semblance of control of the organization. But I mean, according to Pablo Torre, North Carolina's not happy. Belichick's family obviously is not happy about any of this.
But at first we thought she was like a dancer or an escort.
Yeah, but now they're getting married, so he's making it's a Pretty Woman scenario if that was the case. You know?
When you say senior citizen, too, like he was well into senior citizen age, and not like a tongue-in-cheek, oh, you're turning 55, you're going to be a senior citizen. No, actual, by any measure, senior citizen age when they met years ago.
Yeah, like not a crazy obituary age. Like when if you open up the New York Times obituaries and you see the age, you're like, all right, it's too young, but it's not like you don't immediately think something like crazy happened, you know?
Yeah. Late 60s when they met.
Well, she could have. I mean, who knows how old she was? And if she was 19 when she met Bill, I want to know how old she was when she was dating the guy before that was in his 60s.
I thought about that too.
I did too.
But even an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old, if you date somebody for 6 months, that's like the longest relationship you've ever had, and that could have been considered like a serious relationship.
Well, I'll tell you this: is that my son on his baseball team had 2 kids that were 20, and they were in high school. So I don't know what to tell you. Like that. Can you imagine if just put it this way. If you saw a video of a 20-year-old guy banging a 73-year-old woman, that would be gross. Mm-hmm. Reverse the sexes on it. Like it would be gross. Like say I said, why don't you guys come to my son's travel game? And after the game, one of the kids on the team went up to a 73-year-old woman and started passionately kissing her. With tongue and everything. Ugh. And they were embracing each other, making out. What would you think about that? It would be odd, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think the guy was like a gigolo or something? You would think of something along those lines. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But listen, different strokes for different folks.
I could see it, though. Is she dressed appropriately for the game? Is she kind of dressed down? Is she wearing a ball cap?
Well, she's wearing the team colors in a wrestling. She's wearing a bedazzler.
Ponytail through the
ponytail through the back of the cap.
Yeah, her thinning gray hair and tote bag is that she's got matches. All right, so very good. Well, there you go. That is our daily update, and you can feel free to comment on the @Toucher and Hardy Instagram if you know her and want to make us feel really bad about ourselves and how this is about our own inadequacies. We'll be back in just a moment. Jordan Schultz will be joining us.
You're listening to
player.
And a whole lot of Boston sports.
And I have had many offers to be coming in. Hardy, he co-hosts a podcast called Why is Draymond Green Talking About Football with Draymond Green? And you went to Michigan State University.
And you love Draymond Green above all others.
Draymond Green is my favorite basketball player. I begged Danny Ainge to take Draymond Green in the draft. I told him to take Draymond Green in the draft, and he took Fab Melo. And I told him not to do that. I did. I really did. Before the draft, I told him to take Draymond Green.
Fab Melo, very, very tall. Played the 2-3 zone like nobody's business at Syracuse.
At Syracuse. And then I don't think he ever played a game in the NBA.
No, he was more famous for walking into a door. Yes.
Well, he was very tall.
True.
Jordan Schultz, hello, sir.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing?
Good. Nice to talk to you. How did you get hooked up with Draymond Green?
You know, we had a mutual friend, and he was a producer, and basically said, look, I think you guys would really hit it off, especially because Draymond's looking to, expand outside of hoops. And I said, I to my knowledge, he's a pretty big and pretty knowledgeable football fan. So we got on a call, hit it off pretty well. And then I ended up last summer flying to L.A. We spent the day together and just crafted what we thought could be a show. And it was great. He's a special dude. I think his on-court persona doesn't really match his off-court persona, because off the court, he's super mellow, he's super chill, and I said to him, like, this persona that you have on the court, like, is that easy for you? Because it doesn't really match what I see now. And he said, the on-court demeanor is something that you have to develop and you have to be comfortable with, because it's not for everyone. And we went through a couple different players that have tried and probably failed because maybe they're too nice of a guy. And he said, you just have to turn that off when you get on the court and recognize that this is not really me anymore. This is a different version of me.
And because at Michigan State, he was everything. Like, he was by far their best player. I mean, I remember at the end of games in the tournament, Izzo would have him play point. I grew up around there, so I like Michigan State basketball. I went to a smaller school, and my co-host, Hardy, graduate of Michigan State. And he had to – it's kind of impressive that he had to evolve into that role, right? Like, he was probably growing up and at Michigan State, certainly the best player on the court a lot of times, and then he gets to the NBA, and he's got to take on that new role.
Yeah, He's such a winner. I mean, he's won at every level. I think 2 state championships, obviously Final Four at Michigan State, and then, 4 NBA titles and Defensive Player of the Year. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and clearly he's got a lot of interest outside of basketball, and he's probably I don't know how much more he has left considering his age and how many games he's played, how many minutes, but he's one of those guys that is going to have a really successful career, after hoops. Like, he's not going to be disappearing into the abyss. You'll see a lot of Draymond moving forward.
Yeah, he's like the next Barkley, right? Like, he's
very similar.
He's in line, right?
Yeah.
He's in line for that.
How is he?
Yeah, I would say that's a good point. Yeah.
How is he on football, Jordan?
He's good. He's really good. He played a spring game at Michigan State his freshman year.
I remember that. Yeah.
It tied in, and it didn't go well. And there's a video of it somewhere. I'm sure you could find it. And I asked him, why didn't you stick with football? Obviously, Izzo would have been okay with it. He probably would have preferred not, but he was okay with it. And he said the first time he got hit in the mouth by an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, he got punched, at the line of scrimmage. He said that was it. Basketball toughness and football toughness are very different things. But he knows his football. One of his best friends is Benny Fowler, who played a long time in the NFL, and I've asked Benny about Draymond's knowledge, and it's pretty good. And I've seen from Draymond, like, he knows a lot more than I think even I would have figured. One of the things that impressed me the most was he said, basketball to talk about is really easy for him. It's just second nature. But football, he likes talking about more in some ways because it challenges him. And so, he's one of those guys, he wants to learn. He's very curious. He's a voracious reader. He's just always, he wants to learn and be challenged. So that's probably the best way to put it.
It's crazy they let him play in that spring practice. I told you the story.
I mean, Izzo has all these football things he brings into the basketball, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, because I went to this school, Detroit Country Day, and it was a middle school and a high school. And when I was in 8th grade, yeah. So this is the story, right? So you had to play 2 sports. So Weber, either his freshman year or his sophomore year, I think Weber's 2 years older than me. He was on the JV football team. Like they put him in pads, and they scrimmaged the middle school team. And I'm probably at the time 6'1", like $150. Weber's like 6'7", whatever.
Yeah.
And they said, if you touch him, you're dead. They just and like Weber could have killed me, but they were like, if you even touch him, you're dead. They're like, don't try to be a hero. This was a real instruction on the field. They told me just don't touch him. And Weber was a tight end, and I was a linebacker, and I just stood there. And they just ran plays, and we just stood there and talked. He was a good guy.
Awesome.
I ended up being like casually acquaintances with him as I went into high school, but yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was the #1 player in America.
Oh yeah, it was crazy while he was there. Like
And Country Day plays like 1A, right? It's small.
It plays. It was in the C
2A.
League was when he was there. It was A, B, and C and D. It was C League, but he played Jalen Rose's A team in at the Palace of Auburn Hills when he was with Country Day. That was like the big thing.
Wow. Yeah. One of my best friends growing up, who I played basketball in college, and one of my best friends growing up was from Detroit, and he moved to Seattle, where I'm from, and he went to Cranbrook, which I know is also a private school and not great basketball history, right?
Yeah. But Cranbrook sucks at sports. Yeah. I was kicked out of Country Day, so I have that badge of honor. All right,
good.
All right. So Jordan, you're doing all this stuff. All right. So what do you make of the league? What are they saying about Vrabel? How does this look like? What is the confidence of this team and the expectations of this team in league circles?
I think they're gonna. The confidence is extremely high. I thought they did extraordinarily well in the draft, and the Will Campbell pick was great, but I thought they did really well. I mean, the Kyle Williams selection, he was one of those guys that the league was much higher on than I think the media or the fans even realized. Out of Washington State, he's really going to be a day one impact player, and I think he's going to become one of Drake May's favorite targets. I just love that selection. And just in general, the offseason they have, obviously Milton Williams was a huge get. Spillane from the Raiders is going to be a massive impact. Their roster was in a horrible place just a few months ago, and now it's in a pretty respectable place. And I think Mike Vrabel, you asked the confidence level. I don't know how it could be higher. Just from the roster standpoint, yes, but also just the amount of equity that he gives that organization, the respect instantly that he's created. I think they'll double the win total at least. That division is interesting because Miami comes off a disappointing year, but obviously had a lot of injuries. We expect the Jets to be better, and then obviously, the Bills are the Bills. But I think there's an opportunity for the Patriots, assuming they do stay healthy, with second-year Drake May, first-year Mike Vrabel, to double their win total and be in the playoff conversation. And I would never, ever would have thought I would have said that. Even after they hired him, I thought this is a 2 or 3 year rebuild. But I think they're going to be substantially better.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, Hardy. I heard Andrew Callahan on the radio here yesterday. He covers the Patriots, and he was saying the model is the Lions. And he was saying 2027 to be a real Super Bowl contender if you hit in these drafts like that. To get impact edge rushers and receivers, you really need to hit on them in the draft. And with the maturation of Drake May, 2027 is a reasonable goal for being a Super Bowl contender if everything goes right.
If you hit on impact offensive players like the Lions
did
too.
And edge rushers like the Lions did too. When do you think, if everything lands right, that the Patriots could be a real title contender?
I think, 27 feels right. Just thinking about the division. I mean, the AFC is really, really, really tough. I think 27 feels right. But I'll say this. If the hardest thing in the NFL to do, the hardest thing in sports to do, is to hit on your quarterback. I think everyone in New England, outside of New England, believes that Drake May is the franchise quarterback and the heir apparent, if you will, to Tom Brady. Okay, they have a 4-year window now, where they don't have to pay Drake May. I would say the same thing in Washington with Jaden Daniels, even Atlanta with Michael Penix. These teams that have hit on young quarterbacks, now you have the window. And you mentioned Detroit. The Lions didn't even do that. They had to trade for Jared Goff, and I don't even think they knew how good Jared Goff was going to be. The Patriots know how good Drake May is going to be. And I think the impact that Mike Vrabel can have, having taken Tennessee to an AFC championship, won divisions there. This is an organization with a proud history, and as long as the ownership group allows the football people to do their job, Ryan Cowden, Elliott Wolf, Mike Vrabel, I think 27 feels like the absolute right time. But I think they're going to be, again, dramatically improved in 25.
Jordan, you've had a lot of stuff on the Raiders recently, and I think there's a similar situation going on there, albeit with a much different coaching scenario. They're going old as opposed to a guy taking his second job, but another 4-win team. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's another team that's looking at, hey, we may not be playoff bound, especially considering the division that they play in, but could they be looking at doubling up their win total? Do you have high expectations for them and like the
I do, yeah.
The Vegas fan base viewing that as a huge success if they're able to vastly improve upon last year and still miss the playoffs?
I do. The reason, if you go back just a few months with Pete Carroll, he wasn't the number one target. Ben Johnson was the number one target. But I had said early on, Ben Johnson is most likely going to be with the Chicago Bears. That's where he wanted to be. That was his target. That was their number one guy. He gets to stay in the division, what have you. Moving forward, the Raiders look at that division, the AFC West, and they said, okay, you have Harbaugh, you have Peyton, you have Reed. We need an adult in the room. And they got that with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, his superpower is his ability to connect with players and build a program. That's what he did in Seattle, and I think that's what he'll do with the Raiders. On top of that, he gets Geno Smith, he gets Ashton Dente, he gets Jack Besh. They significantly upgraded their offensive tools, and they have arguably the best tight end in the league in Brock Bowers. I think the Raiders are in a similar position, albeit with a veteran quarterback. But anytime you have someone who you really believe in as a head coach, which the Raiders have, you're in a good position. But like the Patriots, they needed to and did vastly upgrade their offensive and really just their personnel as a whole. So that division, to me, is the best division in football, considering the Chargers, Broncos, and Chiefs. So I don't know if it's a double, but they will be a lot better, a lot more competitive. But there's just more window in the AFC East.
All right. Well, Jordan Schultz, great talking to you. I love that you're doing that stuff with Draymond Green. Very interesting. And thank you so much for the time, sir.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. Enjoy the show, and I appreciate you having me.
Thanks, all right,
Jordan.
thank you, Jordan.
Thanks.
There you go. Jordan Schultz.
Very nice.
I looked up after he mentioned it, Fred, the Draymond Green footage of him playing in the spring game.
Oh, you were able to find it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a little story about it on YouTube, and he's absolutely right. He gets jammed up at the line. Now, the corner looks like he's, a little guy. The corner's probably 6'1", 6'2", because Draymond's so big. Mm-hmm. But he's trying to play tight end, I think. Yeah. And going out there and not catch it. It starts with a false start, so he jumps offside. Then he gets jammed up on the line on another play. Yeah. Then a ball gets thrown to him, and it goes over his head. And you hear it all the time, like, oh, LeBron James, you could be a tight end. It's different.
Yeah.
And that these guys play a very physical brand of basketball, Draymond Green especially. It's different.
I was just going to say, NBA players complain about getting touched on the wrist. I can only imagine what happens when it gets real.
I don't blame them for giving it a shot, and it's pretty nutty that they allowed it to happen. But yeah, once you're out there, it's probably not going to go well.
Yeah, they're always tight ends. That's what they always put them as, tight end. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox began a 3-game series in Milwaukee with their third straight loss, 3-2 to the Brewers. Garrett Crochet, a tough luck loss. Pitched into the 7th inning, allowed 2 runs and struck out 11. He is now 4-4. Red Sox will visit the Brewers again tonight. At the NBA playoffs, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 40 points. Oklahoma City took a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals. They beat Minnesota 128-126. Carolina staved off elimination. They beat Florida 3-0. Panthers still lead the NHL's Eastern Conference Finals 3-1. In day 3 play, the
Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy.
Padding.
Oh, that's
like
bad.
the plastic.
Yeah, that sucks.
Ooh.
That sucks.
So they're very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
To wear. I don't like it.
You got to have the padding. Padding's important.
Yeah.
On the bridge of the nose.
How many pair of glasses do you operate with, Wallach?
2.
Do you keep one at home and
one in the car, and I also have prescription sunglasses.
Oh, do they flip up like
No.
the guy from It's a Different World?
No, I'm not Dwayne Wayne. No, I do not have that.
Sunglass can't hide money.
That's right.
I know.
I want to get the sunglass readers this summer. That's a big thing.
That's also much more expensive than what I have.
You just pay a lot of
sunglass readers?
Yes.
No.
Much more. I don't have that.
Yeah,
Well,
but they don't need to be.
They would be
prescription.
cheaper. They would actually have to be cheaper.
Readers
because,
are cheaper than regular prescription.
Well, you can buy them at CVS.
Oh,
like
that's
you can
true.
buy readers.
I'm thinking of the specialty sunglasses that
Oh,
have
like,
the
you're
stuff
thinking
at
of
the bottom.
bifocals.
That's what I'm
That's
thinking
what you're
of.
thinking of. You're
Yes,
thinking of
yes.
bifocals.
Yes.
Because if I don't have contacts in, I would never need readers. But it is interesting that whenever my children hand me something, I have to put it at completely arm's length, unless we're in a very specifically lit room. Then I can see it up close. I've been out with like women and been like, oh,
Excuse me.
Jesus Christ, I can't see them. And I don't need like here on the
Yeah.
show, like I don't need readers. Like I don't need them to like read a book. But like in like a dimly lit restaurant or something.
Excuse me, I
like-
have to take out my phone for a flashlight.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm
That's
like
right.
I'm ancient. Just don't mind me. I'll just be really old.
Do you want the link for my Thin Optics little back of the phone?
Yeah, that would be-
perch on your nose.
I might as well just.
Oh, you got the Morpheus thing going there. That's good.
I might as well just ask if they want to have sex in the bathroom once I put those on. Like I'm like, do we even need to go to my house?
I really like these things. I use them every day. And we were out for dinner a few nights ago, and Marcy forgot her readers. She was like, "Can I borrow your thing with her?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she put them on. I can't believe what an a-hole she looked like, and realized that's what I look like every time I put them on. But now, it's not going to stop me. I'm not going to start carrying readers around with me all the time. But as functional as they are, they're an absolute crime scene. It's a horror show when you see those on someone else's face.
See, when you're married, like none of that stuff matters, and none of it becomes apparent to you until you're trying to impress someone of the opposite sex.
Yeah.
Like all these things, like being a big fat ass, like shaving, bathing regularly, like all these things I never cared about when I was quite a catch. I never cared about. Now, like are of the utmost importance. Grooming, my pubic hair, all these things.
Lost a ton of weight. Sure.
Yeah, I would have lost weight probably anyway, but like, yeah, the motivation to go to the gym and stuff is much more now. You gotta do things. You gotta try to make yourself more attractive. It's a jungle out there, Johnny. I mean, now it's a whole app world. You get me in front of someone. My hit rate is like 100%.
Right.
But you gotta get through these looks.
First.
You gotta get through these looks.
Got to get there first.
If I got a chance to perform for you in person, face to face.
Yeah.
Not sexually, just in a dating scenario.
You're saying you need the
100% hit rate.
The
100% hit rate.
woman
Once I
in
start
hand,
talking.
the musk of the friend.
No, but I have friends with opposite problems. I have friends that like clean up on apps, but once they go on a date,
there's no charm.
There's no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not lying to you. This is
I
a
have
real
friends-
scenario.
I have friends.
I have friends that are like
good.
good looking, but they go on dates and they like for whatever reason, the girl doesn't like them anymore. In fact, I had this conversation the other day with someone. Their hit rate was very low, but my hit rate is 100%. I've never gone out on a date with a woman that didn't want to go on a second date.
Is that listed as a stat on your dating app?
It should be.
What your hit rate is?
It should be ignore how ugly this man is. You'll like him if you meet him, because at that point they've already gone. And oftentimes they're like, oh, you're not as big a piece of garbage as I thought. I was expecting a terrible troll, but you're just ugly. And I go, thank you for that. What a gift.
There's a new app that we're going to get to, hopefully in the stack today. That is not necessarily a dating app, but it is something that was sent to me that I think you could use in addition to your dating app.
Okay.
It's a new social app.
Interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Grinder? That's not new. Scruff?
No.
That's
I believe it's pronounced whizzer. W-Y-Z-R.
Scruff.
No, it's not. It's not scruff.
What?
I like scruff.
That's the app that the guy from Machine uses. All right, we'll be back. John is obsessed with flag football. He's really hell-bent on this flag football stuff.
We're doing the flag football thing?
We're doing there's this flag football thing. There's a flag football thing. So you know what, John?
Can we have Beetle call in and talk about it because he loves it.
Oh, Beetle
I
has a
hate
custom sweatshirt. Beetle has.
There was nothing worse than when Milo played flag football because it's not a real sport.
Oh.
But it had the most hard-on coaches.
Beetle can't.
Guys crying.
You want to talk about that? Beetle has a custom-made sweatshirt. He was the commissioner of his town's flag football.
There's
league.
no blocking or hitting. It's ridiculous to take seriously. It's taking pogo sticking seriously. It's nonsense. But it is an Olympic
Have you
sport.
seen some of them pogo stickers? They can flip around.
I
and
have.
stuff.
When I was on vacation, competitive pogo sticking was on one of the foreign ESPN channels. It really was. They go off of objects like boxes.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Those guys are getting laid.
Probably. I mean, you got to continue the species. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy.
HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox lost their third in a row yesterday, 3-2 in Milwaukee to the Brewers. The up-and-down Red Sox are now back down to 2 games under 500 under the leadership of Alex Cora.
It's one of those that right now we're not putting a complete game together, right? We didn't do much. We put pressure late in the game, but, as of now, it's not happening to us.
They'll continue their 3-game series with the Brewers tonight at the NBA playoffs. Oklahoma City beat Minnesota 128-126. They lead the Western Conference Finals 3-1. Indiana hosts the Knicks tonight in Game 4. The Eastern Conference Finals up 2-1. NBA insider Mark Stein reported yesterday the Dallas Mavericks are expected to explore a possible trade with the Celtics this summer involving Drew Holiday. In hockey news, Carolina avoided a 4-game sweep in the Eastern Conference Finals. They beat Florida 3-0 last night. Tonight, Edmonton will host Dallas up 2-1 in the West. And in tennis, American Coco Gauff and men's 3-seed Alexander Zverev are among your first-round winners today at the French Open. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Gem Plumbing. Cooling installs and 24/7 service. Go to AskGem.com. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. We're going to get to John's flag football thing. I'm not overly confident he can fit a whole break, so I feel comfortable in doing this. I fell down this rabbit hole. So Tommy Lee is estranged Nicholas. Tommy Lee married like a super hot younger woman, but you get it with her in Tommy Lee because Tommy Lee is Tommy Lee. Now, Tommy Lee, when he's 73, will have sex with 23-year-old women, and you'll be like, of course, Tommy Lee is Tommy Lee. But the thing is that him and his wife are estranged. Estranged! And during this part where they're estranged, there's a guy, Ronnie Radke. And this woman's beautiful, beautiful woman, married to Tommy Lee, who's like Pamela Anderson's one true love, Bobby Brown's one true love. The man is got some charisma in him. And someone catfished her as this Ronnie Radke guy. And she like fell for it and like wanted to have sex with the guy, and Tommy Lee found out about it. Ronnie Radke is he's got tattoos, like he's just fully tattooed. Like when I say tattooed, just like black up to his face. Like he's just tattooed black. And you can tell like he was like a dork kind of growing up. And but for some reason, this is now attractive, which I like, because we were talking about how Hardy saw Jason Aldean. He was forced into a Jason Aldean show. And I said, not only do I not know a Jason Aldean song, but I legitimately couldn't tell you what he looks like. I don't know what any of these country guys look like except for Kenny Chesney and Jelly Roll. And we were talking about, of course I know what Jelly Roll looks like. He's 400 pounds. He's got tattoos on his face. Like, of course you know what he looks like. But now, like, hot girls that are married to Tommy Lee are getting catfished, not even by the real guy, but a guy who is like a little guy with his arms and neck completely blacked out, like just black ink, is so desirable that she is, during her estrangement he shakes his head every time. It's like it's like working a puppet. Nick, I just look at Nick every time I do it and he shakes his head. During their estrangement, she was like interested enough just through DMs to like want to follow through with hooking up with this guy. It's fascinating. And he's in a real crappy band too. And then I fell down a rabbit hole of like this whole subgenre of crappy bands like.
What's the genre of the band that he's in?
Well, how would you explain that?
I mean, it's so. I mean, geez, Hardy, you could probably explain it better than me with your turbo knowledge. But like, you know how like there was like grunge, and then there was post grunge, and then there was even like
okay, you're getting too complicated.
No, but
Marilyn Manson. Marilyn
No,
Manson.
but it's also
Marilyn
rappy
Manson
though.
music.
Though it's more rappy.
Yeah, the rap is very cringy. It's bad.
Yeah.
Even they know it's bad.
Yeah, like it's post rap rock.
Right. But it's very Marilyn Manson inspired. In fact, Marilyn Manson's on the newest song that guy's band did. And it's super creepy.
Of course it is. Ooh, spooky.
Marilyn Manson, oh, don't pick on me. I'm a creature from another level that assaults women.
Shock rock? Horror rock?
Not really. It's not really. It's like electronic beats with like metal screaming and sort of rapping. It's kind of whatever. Yeah. But it's like a whole goth look. Like heavily tattooed goth look. Like a lot of neck tattoos. Like full
he's all blacked out now though. Like he's gone over everything.
But all the dudes in those bands all have like full neck tattoos.
Yeah.
And they're all, when they're interviewed, they're all like dorks. So it's kind of funny. But I just think that's great. Like because like now you get like face tattoos. Because Tommy Lee's got face tattoos, but he's got nothing compared to this guy.
Do you need to get a good tattoo artist if you're just going to do like a sleeve, like not you know the
with no
the design,
art,
no art. Just I want my arm like tattoo ink black.
I would imagine that you need like the best guy to do that. Like that it requires like a lot of precision to like get it right.
Yeah,
and get it even.
It could be too dark in some places if you're overlapping.
Because I might get this tattoo on my right arm covered up with something else. I'm not going to get it lasered off. I just get another tattoo over it because I don't know why I got it.
Which one?
The Bad Brains one.
Oh,
I'd probably get rid of that one. I'm not going to get my kids' names taken off.
Why don't you get a palmetto tree?
I was going to say state flag, maybe the New Mexico state flag, same color.
You know what? I've never been there, so it tracks. If it's just like Gary's story. I went to South Carolina where Gary got his tattoo from half as many times as he's been there in his life last year. I spent a week in Charleston for my son's baseball tournament. I took my daughter for a week to Hilton Head. I was in South Carolina for probably about 12, 13 days last year. I bet you that's half as much time as Gary spent there in his entire life.
But did you enjoy the food to the extent that he did?
I mean, it's really seafood.
What's the cuisine of Charleston?
Oysters,
fish sandwiches.
I don't. The food there is very good.
It's not about the food; it's about the vibe.
He said food.
The food is good. Charleston's got a very good food scene.
Okay,
you can't push him on that. And I like Hilton Head, even though it's very touristy. I like it. What can I tell you? All right, Jonathan. One thing that I never liked was flag football. Again, I found it infuriating. It's the only sport where I was annoyed the entire time.
Yeah, my kids. Your kid played more extensively than mine.
Not really.
Well, okay. Well, my kids had the same experience as yours did. It's kids running everywhere,
and there was like hard-on coaches. Like he had a coach.
Yeah.
Milo caught a ball at the end of a game for a touchdown that would have won the whatever championship.
Right.
And his coach, they didn't allow it. They said that the clock had run out or something. Okay. Whatever happened.
All right.
And the coach started to cry. And he punted a ball and he started to cry. So I had to gather. It was the last game. It was the championship. So I had to gather. I was assistant coach. I didn't do anything all year. The guy, in fairness, the guy was younger. He was a younger guy, much younger than me. He didn't have a kid on the team. So I had to gather the team up and go like, all right, guys, like it's not that big a deal. You can all go on your way. I swear to God, like it was the first time I addressed the team. I'm like, all right, guys, come here, because like it was over. Like it was time for them to go to their parents and leave. And the coach was really upset, really, really, really upset, really upset. I can't. As upset as you think I'm saying, it was more upset than that. And like not available upset. Distraught in a time of grief, like upset.
Okay,
like he was off upsetting somewhere else alone. And so I addressed the team. I addressed the team, and I'm like, I don't know why he's so upset. Good job this year. Have a great great rest of the year. Bye.
I don't know what the structure was where I was. It just ready, hike, and then kids were running supposed routes, but in reality, they were just falling all over themselves. My kids were really young.
Because my son never really played contact sports. Like, he didn't play hockey, and he bagged out of football. He got a concussion right away his freshman year, and that was the only time he ever played. So I can see as a parent, like, the more aggressive the sport, the more aggressive you feel. Like, it's just that natural thing of it's like a violent sport, and you feel protective, or you feel like that, like adrenaline of that. But in flag football, there's none of that. It's less contact than any sport. It's less contact than baseball. At least in baseball, you could get spiked or get hit with a fastball. Like, in flag football, nothing can happen to you. There's no blocking. There's no tackling. There's nothing. But for whatever reason, I guess maybe the NFL wants to push it, because the NFL is behind all this flag football stuff. There's NFL. It's all NFL. Like,
have been for the last decade.
Yeah, like
plus.
even when my son played, like, all the stuff on the field was NFL stuff. Like, it was all NFL flag football. So they somehow shoehorn this into the Olympics. Who cares? Like, really, who cares it's in the Olympics? But John, there is some discontent among the flag footballers.
The NFL just passed a rule during the last owners' quarterly meetings that NFL players will be eligible to play in the 2028 Summer Olympics, the first year that flag football is gone. You can go for a gold medal. The people who have played the sport, I don't even know if it's professionally. I assume it is. The people that have played the sport are upset about this. They want their opportunity to represent the good old red, white, and blue. And this guy, this 35-year-old guy who's about 5'7", 140 pounds, apparently is one of the stars of flag football for what that is worth, gave an interview to the Washington Post saying, we want our opportunity to try out for the U.S. Olympic team. Apparently, flag football is way different than regular football, much like Olympic basketball.
Tyreek Hill's speed wouldn't translate, but I have two words for you. Patriots Edwards. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Robert Edwards, beach football, right after his rookie year, just shattered his knee and was never the same.
It cost him his career.
Yeah.
If I was an NFL player or had any hopes of even being a straggler, if I had any hopes of playing in the Canadian Football League, I wouldn't touch that field for $1 million. For $1 million, I wouldn't touch the field.
So the player you're talking about, is that Daryl Doucette?
Yes.
Okay. This is him some time ago talking about his skills.
At the end of the day, I feel like I'm better than Patrick Mahomes because of my IQ of the game. I know he's right now the best in the league. I know he's more accurate. I know he has all these intangibles. But when it comes to flag football, I feel like I know more than him.
Well, you probably do.
Yeah.
It'd probably be a little confusing because of, the lack of any contact.
Part of what Patrick Mahomes makes him good is that, someone's going to hit him, and then he can evade getting hit and sometimes absorb a tackle. You don't have to worry about it.
There are guys on the other side of the line counting Mississippi. You know when they're coming.
And you also can't press coverage, and you can't really make contact with the receiver. You can't leave some guy hanging out to dry in the middle of the field where he'll get his head taken off. I do believe that there are several things that Patrick Mahomes has to worry about, which may be hard muscles to, relax. That whole, like you said, threat of getting hit, the whole threat of anyone getting hit, the whole threat of a route being interrupted by anyone being in the person's way. Like, all of those things could be a little bit of a tough thing. But you are still cutting as a receiver, and I would imagine, are playing on turf.
Yeah,
and I would imagine you're playing with turf cleats on.
Yeah.
And I don't want anyone on my team cutting on turf with turf cleats on unless they are in one of my practices or games, or they're somehow training specifically to play for my team. No way. No way. The league's fine. I don't need, TNT playing flag football at 2:00 in the afternoon and 2:00 in the morning.
Right. I don't need it on my TV, and that's what these Olympic sports really should be about to a large degree. Is it interesting to watch on TV? And I think flag football is great for kids. It's a really good sport
Waste
for them
of
to
time.
learn, and fine, great.
Tire them out.
With the
That's
other,
what it is.
with the
You
other
might as
things
well
that,
just do it in your backyard, but go ahead.
other things that I like, either for me or for someone else, when you try and watch it on TV, pickleball, awful. It doesn't translate. It's not good. I tried watching flag football. I said, this is stupid, and it's boring, and it sucks.
I just thought of something. Flag football really shouldn't be allowed. flat because it's really something that kids should be just putting together themselves, and like like why have an organized activity with coaches and refs and everything? Like it should be things. It's like having professional wiffle ball.
Okay, but this is a long, long time ago. But I just to illustrate the point, it's not new because I played this in 6th, 7th grade at the boys' club.
Yeah, we didn't have flag football.
So we have flag football, and I think that if for no other reason, Fred, it was a way for all kids to get together. You could have a legit 7-on-7 game, and if not everybody lived in the same neighborhood, you're not driving.
But it was
over
at
to
a
someone's
boys'
house.
club where you were anyway. Like if they had it at the Y when I was growing up, and you were at the Y anyway, and they just said, "Did you guys want to?" It's like a gym class.
Well, now, this was a specific thing that you had to be there, and we had teams, and I got a freaking trophy out of it.
Like I'm very impressed
I was
with my
really good.
son's friends.
Pass rusher.
The kids in our neighborhood have this wiffle ball league with standings and rosters and like social media accounts and stats.
That's obnoxious.
But it's great because they put it all together themselves and they get together and they do it all
the kids
themselves.
did it.
Yeah, the kids did
I thought you meant the parents did it.
No, the kids did it.
Oh, that's great.
Well, that's my point with flag football. Like, they're like, why should the parents now in like Major League Baseball get involved with wiffle ball? Like, just let kids do it. Like, you guys do that. There's no reason for any one adult at all to be involved with flag football. It's something that kids could easily put together. You could have a day where we got a field. Now you kids go out and figure it out. But I can tell you from experience, there's no reason for a coach. None.
Well,
Zero.
You're going to have to reckon with a certain flag football league commissioner when he comes in here in about 40 more minutes.
Beetle's not going to like this take.
He is going to
no,
be
sir.
upset with you. You have poked the bear, my friend.
Takes that very seriously.
Well, it's really a personal insult to him. And thank you for putting it in that context.
It's
really
yeah, and he's gonna be
it's an
mad
indictment it's an indictment on his whole league, really.
He will be mad as a hornet. Coming right at you, boy.
Well, listen, it's no offense to anyone in the flag football community, but in my own opinion, it just seems like something that kids in the neighborhood could do. And maybe that's for the best. Like, it's hard to get like a hockey, like organized hockey, right? There's equipment and rink time and everything else. Baseball. Like, the days of like Sandlot, like, it's a little bit more difficult. Padded football. Impossible. Lacrosse, I would imagine, difficult.
Ultimate's
a vibe, man. Just anywhere there's a vibe. Ultimate's just a vibe.
Hacky sack.
Same thing.
Do they make them anymore is the question. Do they make them? That was the pet rock of my elementary school
No winners,
days.
no losers at hacky sacky. Just exist, baby.
Yeah. By the time I was in college, I don't know if they made them anymore, but they certainly had them when I was in middle school.
I guarantee you, if you follow one of those hippie bands, there's some dirtbag selling them in the parking lot. Hands knit, and
just
putting
dip that thing.
They got to make
patchouli
enough.
oil.
They got to make enough to fund their adventures.
There's already 18 grilled cheese stands. They got to compete.
Well, when the guy running the trust fund doesn't show up in time to distribute the money,
That's right.
And
Then
make
you
sure
got to make
because your
hacky
parents are
sacks.
concerned you're doing too many drugs, so they want to be very careful on how the money's doled out.
That's right.
So when the trustee comes in to give you the money, that sometimes doesn't cover all your expenses. All right, we'll be back in just a moment with our wonderful email segment.
More Toucher and Hardy.
Himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
It was Nick's idea. He invented it. Email. You can email the show. Go to 985thesportshub.com and figure that out. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Toucher and Hardy. You can follow me on Instagram at Fred Toucher, and these other two jabronis. They're not even building their brands. I don't know what to tell you. When I run off with the Toucher and Hardy account, you're going to have your tail between your legs.
No, right up until I lawyer up.
No, it's a shame. Justin Riley, our good friend, says, Bridgewater alum here. I was looking to see if Jordan ever graduated, and I can only find her on the 2020-2021 cheerleading roster where she says she was 19 years old. This is the same time she met Bill. So that means she must have dropped out of school shortly after meeting him. Either he convinced her she didn't need to stay in school, or she knew she would get his money and didn't need to graduate. I don't know if all that's true, but it has been reported by Pablo Torre. Oh, no, by the Boston Globe, I believe, that they could find no record of Jordan graduating from Bridgewater State, which is often the time with the pageant girls. You know, you gotta commit full time to pageantry.
There's that allure of turning pro.
Yeah.
It's the beck and call.
Plus, I mean, you have to walk with a book on your head for so many times that in order to do it, you have to give up childish things such as an education. For the and this is on her whole old Shaft joke that she told apparently the owner of the B&B. Our friend Dave says her senior Shaft joke. She says golf. They invite her Jordan to play. She says, I like to play with the senior Shaft. And Dave says her senior Shaft joke is actually a great one. That's a very funny joke for that situation and almost changes the way I look at her. She went up maybe a notch and a half in my book for that. That is a good joke. And in having the presence of mind to tell it, to be self-aware enough to know that you are with an old man and it looks weird and he's gross and got huge boobies. All of those things, to be self-aware, to incorporate those into a golf joke. But then to be so terrible at PR is, it kind of cancels each other out.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like maybe it's the trick of memory, Hardy.
I would prefer, as my PR person, someone who's less good at telling jokes and is better at not ruining my life.
Yes, that would be a good idea. Not sitting during interviews and interrupting the CBS morning news would be a good start.
Chuck says, found while randomly channel surfing last week, came on right after the Cornhole Championship. You ever watched ACL? American Cornhole League? Watch
Every
any of
once in
that?
a while for maybe 8 seconds at a time.
Oh, I'll watch for a lot longer than that. But Chuck found Quad Ball, a real-life version of Harry Potter's Quidditch. 2 teams, co-ed, running around with brooms between their legs. I've actually seen it played. Was driving past a campus once and saw kids out there doing their version of Quidditch.
And so there was a time where we would like go out and talk to guys like LARPing and stuff.
Yep.
And then basically you learn like, you know what, just let them be. Like, you know, like they know, like when you're playing Quidditch or whatever and running around with a broomstick between your legs, like, you know, you're not, you know, a rock star. You're very aware what you're doing is incredibly nerdy. So like when you go out and you think it'd be funny, like in the movie with Paul Rudd and Stifler's mom kid, Step Brothers, whatever that, not Step Brothers, the one Role Models.
Oh yeah.
Like when they go to the LARPing thing and like they all know what they're doing is dorky. They know it.
Yeah.
It's just like when you go to the ICP stuff, like the Insane Clown Posse Festival, and they interview the guys there, and then you realize, sure, like, you know, they're like kind of like dirty guys, but they know what they're there and they're enjoying themselves. Let's just let them be. That's the point.
Are you going to read the construction email?
Yep.
Okay. Would you like to do that?
I got it pulled up right now. Hardy, today kicks off a fairly big construction project at my house to have an addition and new deck put on. What's the appropriate level of hydration, snacks, and food to provide to the team for a multi-week project? Also, open invite to swing by any afternoon if you want to see what's doing, do some lingering, have a chin wag about the project. Should be a lot going on between demo, excavation, construction, and electrical. Oh,
What part of that process are you the most interested in?
Demo is fun because it's all crashy bangy.
For like novices.
Yeah, but first of all, watching a guy on an excavator, which is the MVP of so many projects, unfair. He's like, you know, such a big deal. But to see that guy maneuver, I would love to see that, and the framing. I love watching the framing. Once they get into mechanicals, first of all, I have found out the hard way. It's easy to get in the way. You really can't be that close, but you have to get close to see what they're doing. So, yeah, I would go excavation and framing. That's what I would like to.
You like framing.
That was really nice of him to invite you down to see the project.
Okay,
He's only about 20 minutes from your house, right?
Yeah, right. So I might do it. Thank you, Randy. But this is a multi-week project. Whatever you lay out there on day one, they're going to expect that every day. So I would take it easy at the beginning. I would do a couple of coolers, fill it with some ice, get one of those 24 packs of just, water and, that you can get for like $4. Stock that thing, maybe some Gatorades or something. Don't go nuts, because whatever you do today, you're going to need every day.
Last day of the project, you busting out beers for the fellas?
Oh, Fred. Of course I am.
To a job well done?
Yeah,
Not
you
just
are.
beers. You throw in a couple of nice bottles of Bartles and James. You get some wine coolers in there.
Bartles and James.
Yeah, maybe you get the Matilda Bay party ball out there, too.
Okay.
Matilda Bay.
A box of a Matilda Bay wine cooler, too.
Okay. I'm unfamiliar with the
I've
Matilda
never heard
Bay
of that,
brand.
but I've heard of Bartles and James.
Just be careful.
I don't think it exists anymore.
No, I think it's done too.
Be
There's
careful.
two old guys on the porch. All right, go ahead.
I have one here from Richie. He said, "No love for college baseball, Wallach. Dumbass Northeastern is the hottest team in the nation, and they made the NCAA tournament." Okay. Congratulations to Northeastern. They've won 27 straight games. They are the 2 seed in the Florida State Regional of the NCAA baseball tournament. They play Mississippi State on Friday. Friday at 7:30.
Brett Favre, I believe, went to Mississippi State, and then he took all the Mississippi welfare funds to fund the Ole Miss volleyball facility for his daughter. Northeastern it's incredible what they've done to that program. In all seriousness, it's great.
23-1 at home this season, 48-9 overall.
Like
they
a
have
city-
not lost in 6 weeks.
A city school in the Northeast turning that baseball program into a real perennial contender is very, very, very impressive.
Yep.
And best of luck to the Northeastern baseball team. And Bird, who often films their games.
Yes, I think that's right. Yes.
No, it is right. My son's playing on the Northeastern field this summer.
Parsons Field, Brookline, Mass.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very exciting.
Sarah from Everett has been back emailing, which she was gone for a long time. Several emails yesterday. She saw Public Enemy with Anthrax at the Thomas Mack Center in Las Vegas, 1988, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark.
Why is that a question?
Because she wasn't sure what year she actually saw them.
Okay.
There's something I can't read, and you know that, Sarah. That's. Oh, and then were you trying to come up with the name of David Geffen earlier, or
No.
Clive Davis?
Clive Davis.
Okay. Well, Sarah said it was David Geffen.
No, it
Was
was
the name you were trying to
Clive.
come
It was
up
Clive Davis. Is what I was trying to think of.
What was it? What was the context?
Okay, so I went out with another guy from my radio station, and these two girls out to Los Angeles for the Grammys, and radio was still enough of a big a deal where there were record reps all over the place that cared about you and like wanted to take you out. So we were out like whatever, drinking and doing whatever, and someone, and I can't recall who. This was like the magic trip to Los Angeles. This was the trip where the guy I was with, his best friend was Johnny Depp's assistant and ran the Viper Room. Back when the Viper Room was like really cool, we were allowed to smoke in there, which is a big deal. We were allowed to stay after it closed. We were hanging out with this guy PJ, and it turned out to be Johnny Knoxville. Like it was like this magical trip. And like, so everything, we were hanging out with Joey Mack. I let Joey Mack stay at the Viper Room after it closed. Like we had like a real run of the place. And it's somewhere in our adventure, the night of the Grammys, we sold our Grammy tickets out in front of wherever it was, Staples Center, and took the money, and we were out going around. And in our adventure, someone said, go to the Beverly Hills Hotel and say this name to security. So us and the two girls wasted, partying all day at night, go to the Beverly Hills Hotel. We go up to this indifferent security guy and say this thing, and he goes, yeah. And we go in, and it's a room of people all dressed up in this ballroom of the Beverly Hills Hotel. This is a true story. And Stevie Wonder's playing the piano. Oh. And, like, In Sync is, like, there. All I remember is, like, In Sync being there because, like, they were still a band or a group. And we couldn't find the bar and felt so conspicuous that we just ended up going up to the bar at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and Jerome Bettis was there. Yeah. It was all the people that couldn't get into the Clive Davis party were at the bar. But they let us in, and we felt so conspicuous and underdressed and, like, couldn't figure out where anything was. Like, it was one of those things we were in, and then we realized we shouldn't be there. And, like, we were
couldn't make yourself
stand out.
Couldn't make yourself look like you should be there.
Like, the two girls we were with were really good looking, so I'm sure they would have been fine. And probably part of the reason we were let in, like, we were with really good looking girls, but they, like, yeah, I just remember being very drunk and being like, we don't belong here. Like, this is very uncomfortable. Like, almost bumping into Stevie Wonder while he performed at, like, an affair. Like, it was being like I would imagine a lot like what the Holiday Inn in Portland was like for the for the Miss Maine pageant, right. Miss Maine USA pageant. And they don't want to get that terrible lawsuit put on us. Yeah. It's just waiting there.
One show we talked about yesterday, another new show. This new show on Netflix, Bad Behavior, is I Think You Should Leave on steroids. Only 6 episodes so far. First episode was nuts. You will not be disappointed. 1,000% Fred, you would like it. Tom Segura looks different in a sketch. So if you hate him, just try it. It's only 17 minutes. Again, Bad Behavior, Netflix. So that's a show that we have to maybe check out. But the other one that I mentioned yesterday that somebody else co-signed on, Mobland. I'm 3 episodes in so far. Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan. It's fantastic. Yeah, if you like this stuff. Now, Fred, you did not like Peaky Blinders. There's another one called Gangs of London that has, I would say, a similar vibe to this, but I think Guy Ritchie directed these, so it's more like The Gentleman. So if you like the movie The Gentleman and you like the series that they did after it, this one's for you, Mobland.
All right.
7 ATs, I felt bad.
Pat.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Freddie, baby.
Hey, what's up, Pat?
Hey, I'm pretty sure Favre's daughter went to Southern Mississippi State, not Old Miss. So it kind of even makes it worse at that point. I just want to say I love the show. Listen every day. Hardy, you're the best.
Thanks,
I'll
buddy.
catch you boys later.
Hello.
Let's see. Irvin Favre.
Good old boy, I'm imagining.
I'm
Irvin Favre.
trying to figure. It doesn't matter. Oh.
Yeah.
Favre played. Okay. I don't know. I don't know where Irvin Favre went to school.
All right. Well, very good. We will be right back. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines presented by
We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy finishing things up. What's going on, Hardy?
Did you watch any of the Indy 500 over Memorial Day weekend?
I heard a guy talking about it on national radio, so I turned the channel. They're open. It's open car racing in an oval.
Open wheels, baby. Open wheels.
Yeah, open car.
What do you know?
Nothing. I know nothing about
open wheels.
Well, Tom Brady got on stage.
Did you go when you went to the Super Bowl? Did you both go to the Indy 500 party where you got to go on the track?
I did.
I wasn't at that one.
I didn't go there.
I was.
I didn't go.
I was. That's where Zoe and I got lost in a neighborhood. Zoe almost got me killed.
Yeah.
Trying to get
How?
We had no idea where we were going. We were in a particularly bad neighborhood, and I'm driving down with Zolak, so we're going at the speed of light, weaving in and out of cars. And so I was like, go ask directions. And, of course, we're dressed appropriately for the party. We pull into this parking lot of this convenience store in a predominantly black neighborhood. I get out of the car to go inside, and immediately the door locks. So I go in there. Everyone's perfectly fine. I get back in the car, and we find the party. That's it.
The hardest I ever laughed, maybe in the last 10 years, 15 years, was when there's Jim Louth right now. Jim Louth was driving us. We had gone to the Super Bowl in Houston. We had gone to NASA for the day. Somebody gave us a special tour that lasted for 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long time. Zoe had tapped out after the first 30 minutes. He wandered away from this special tour we were getting, and it came back with like snacks from a vending machine that was not on the tour. He had somehow made it into an employee area because he had gone 30 minutes without eating. And he didn't care about the lunar rover. He didn't care about the space station mock-up, any of that stuff. He just wanted to leave. And all Zoe had on his mind was getting Texas barbecue when we left there. So Jim Louth is driving the rental car. And not a big rental car. So it's Louth driving, Zoe in the front seat, me and Beetle in the back. So we're crammed into this thing. And Zoe is demanding barbecue. So Jim is trying to find a barbecue restaurant on his maybe Generation 3 iPhone. It was like a 3S he was working with. And he kept asking for barbecue, Houston, and we're out on the outer corridor. We're nowhere near downtown Houston, and it keeps pulling up stuff like Texas Roadhouse, 3.3 miles. So, no, I want barbecue, real barbecue. Outback Steakhouse, 2.2. No. And Beetle and I are dying because he's not putting on an act. He's losing his mind. And we are hell and gone from our hotel. I mean, we're probably now an hour and a half away from getting back to our hotel, much less food. He finally finds a spot, and we can see it on the other side of the highway. But like all highways in unfamiliar cities, you can't get there. We can see it. We can't figure out how to get there. So all the laughter is done, and we finally find the place. We go in there. And Zoe walks up. It's like a cafeteria style. And the people behind the counter knew they had a time bomb. They just start piling food on a plate for him. The rest of us have to order like normal human people walking into this place. They just gave Zoe the biggest tray of food I've ever seen put on one tray in my life. I don't even know if he paid for it. They just wanted him out of the line and sat down, and then he was fine. But watching him lose his mind as Louth was trying to find a barbecue restaurant suitable for what he wanted at that moment, you can ask Beetle about it. I thought it was going to crack a rib.
How long into the meal is he satiated? Is he calmed down, or is it while he sees the food?
Oh no! It's probably 10 minutes in before the hunger pangs are tamped down.
Okay,
because by then it had been like 2 hours since he had eaten, and he's dying. He needs the sustenance.
So that's one of those things you're like, oh, wow, we got to hook up at NASA. And then a half an hour in, I could see saying, maybe this would have been better if we didn't get the hookup.
Exactly.
Sounds
like
right.
my daughter and I went to this thing at Atlantis, and that guy was super cool, and he was late to get us. And it was this thing where you're supposed to just basically play with the sea lion. And since he was late, I think he was really overcompensating. So he took us into like the lab and like where they do all the testing and explained everything and was like pointing out all the offices. And I'm thinking like, oh no. I don't care how the sausage is made. I want to just see the sea lion and slap 5 with it. Like I don't want to see how it's made because it was just her and I.
Let me play with one of them water dogs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he let us come out and like do all this other stuff, and I'm like, I just really thought this was a half an hour of like playing around with the sea lion, but you're really going all in.
All right, so Brady was at the Indy 500. He got up on stage, I don't know, and do the pre-race announcement or something. It didn't go great for him. So that is a packed raceway, not
because he's
Tom Brady
he's right-hand man. He's his liaison. He's the Matt Patricia to his Bill Belichick. This is why Brady got the Fox gig, by the way. I take it the Indy 500 was on Fox. It had to have been. So this is why you go, why do they paying him so much money to do the television? I bet you this is just a public face of all the crap he has to do and all the dumb client crap he has to do and like fly around the world and shake hands, like go to the Indy 500 and get booed.
Curated, the Hall of Excellence in Las Vegas, curated by sportscasting legend Jim Gray and 7-time Super Bowl champ Tom Brady. It reveals untold stories through extraordinary artifacts, from Michael Jordan's first Air Jordans to Oprah Winfrey's Presidential Medal of Freedom. Of course,
she
Oprah
knows. Well, he's friends with Tom. Tom's friends with Stedman. Stedman's with Oprah.
There's Oprah Winfrey's Medal of Freedom at the Hall of Excellence.
Well, at least you finally have something to do in Vegas, which is go to a museum.
Yes. You'll be guided by the voices of Morgan Freeman, Oprah, Bob Costas, Snoop Dogg, and Tom Brady.
It seems like Jim Gray's the worst friend in the world to have. If you're friends with him, he's like asking you, like you're Oprah Winfrey.
But he'll follow you everywhere. That's the other part of it.
Well, he's completely just like, I'm going to be there because you work for the guy that they want to be with. And, Jim, that's the sense of doubt you're going to have to live with until you die or accomplish something on your own.
Careful. He might still be able to get you fired.
Well, listen, he tried his best.
I think that
many have tried.
That connection no longer exists.
Many have tried. All right. We'll